Okay, we're back.
We're back.
Man, somebody got really upset about us saying that, like,
Talking about wallaby.
Somebody was putting wallaby in their burgers.
Talking about putting wallaby.
We don't like to bring that up.
I don't remember who it was, but one of the listeners, I think it might have been Victor, said he worked at Jack in the Box. I think he said 20 years ago for a while.
And they put the lettuce in afterwards.
Said they put the lettuce in afterwards.
I saw that.
Could be. It was a long time ago, back in the 70s when I had it. I left in 81. I remember other people saying that they fried the lettuce along with it. And maybe they did it that way back then.
Before they knew any better?
Well, no, they were just trying to move fast, and you know what I mean? And I remember that the lettuce was hot. Could be that probably... now I'm thinking about it more from the mind of a cook, because I remember people complaining about it. I think what was happening is that they deep fried it, put the lettuce in it, and then they put those things and set them underneath the heat lamp. And over time, the oil and the hot lamp fucking kind of heated that lettuce up to make you think that they deep fried the lettuce. And it's probably because they were pre-making tacos. You know what I mean? Pre-making them and fucking sending them out to the to-go thing. So some of those things might have been sitting there for fucking a half hour, getting hot.
Well,
that might have been what I was saying.
Like I said, that's kind of my argument for always like ordering something weird at like McDonald's or Burger King or something, because you're much more likely to get something fresh if you order something that a lot of people don't order. Yeah,
Victor said that might be why. Yeah. It makes more sense. They were greasy, so the grease would go up into that damn lettuce and it would wilt a little bit underneath the fucking sun lamp. And they came in a little paper thing like old French fries would come in, you know, a little paper bag. They were fucking great, though. And he says they were 2 for $1. They were fucking good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. If you had, back in the day, it seemed like if you had a couple dollars, you had a whole fucking feast.
Well, you can do that nowadays because a lot of fast food places have a dollar menu.
Yeah, it's like that.
I mean, McDonald's has a dollar menu. Yeah. BK has a dollar menu. Like, you're not going to, like, eat super healthy or anything, but, you know, if you only have, like, $1 or $2 to feed yourself because you're, you know, broke ass...
Now,
you could probably like get your day's worth of calories.
Now, did anybody check on the Jack in the Box Wallaby scandal? Because it's gonna be out there.
The Wallaby scandal.
The Wallaby scandal. It was either Wallaby or fucking
Wallaby Gate.
I think it was Wallaby. And some people were incensed over it, you know. But I remember my mom's boyfriend at the time, name was Dave. He was a damn chemical engineer for Conoco Oil Company. Motherfucker was fucking rolling. Back in the fucking strong days of the California oil industry. And he was like, Wallaby's good quality meat. I eat a burger with nothing but Wallaby. So, you know, not everybody was pissed about it.
Victor said maybe it was kangaroo.
Is it a kangaroo or Wallaby?
Well, because I kind of feel like in Australia, kangaroos are like pests. So they just shoot them. So maybe that's why the meat was cheap.
Well, they also farmed them. They ate those too.
That's true.
Okay, they ate those.
Which, like I said... That only bums me out because kangaroos are cute, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're not used to eating them.
I remember it being wallaby. And because I remember being like, what's a wallaby? And they says, it's like a kangaroo, but smaller.
What's a wallaby?
Yeah. Yeah. But probably McDonald's was behind it. How'd you bet McDonald's?
I kind of feel like probably other fast food chains were probably just like, they make their shit out of like some gross ass shit. Well, because... When I was a little kid, my uncle used to tell me all the time that Wendy's made their hamburgers out of worms. Which,
I remember that
spoiler alert, they did not.
No, I remember that same rumor. That's because the ground beef looked like a wavy thing on the top of the patty. That's why they thought
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never bought that. Even when I was a kid, I didn't buy that. I'm like, even if they are worms, it's fucking delicious, so I don't give a shit.
I remember when Wendy's first came out in the very early 80s out in California. It was a superior fucking hamburger. It was better than the Wendy's you have today. Much better. Much better.
Honestly, I was a fan of Wendy's.
Yeah, they're still good.
I liked Wendy's. One of the things, Frosty. Because, hello.
Yeah.
I also liked dipping the fries in the Frosty.
Yeah, what?
Also, I like that they have baked potatoes.
Yeah.
Not a lot of fast food chains have baked potatoes, and that is an oversight.
I don't think they had that in the early 80s.
Because I would always kind of like, that was one of my favorite things about Wendy's is that they had baked potatoes.
One of the things I remember about Wendy's, though, is that all those little horse girls and my mom and all the fucking horse girls and me, I was a little kid, you know, I'm not calling them horse girls, they were all teenagers. We would go to Wendy's after they'd do their little lessons. They'll be wearing their riding breeches and shit. And that was the first time I ever saw anybody get a side of some kind of dressing I'd never heard of before called ranch dressing. And they were eating French fries with ranch dressing. The first time I'd ever seen it. It might have been around 79, 78. Ranch dressing and French fries.
You can, I mean...
And that became a thing.
You can dip French fries in pretty much anything.
Yeah. But that was the thing. Remember how crazy the U.S. was about ranch dressing all throughout the 80s? They were serving ranch dressing on everything from fucking Denny's.
I kind of feel like the Midwest,
yeah,
they will put ranch dressing on every fucking
that's
thing.
what was happening.
That's kind of their thing.
That was a California trend.
Which
that came from.
In some ways it's kind of gross, but in some ways I kind of get it. I get it.
Putting ranch dressing on pizza.
Okay, that's gross.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then cooking it. CC's Pizza had that damn ranch pizza. Ranch and bacon pizza.
I'm not completely averse to ranch dressing. It's good in some applications.
You should never, ever, ever bake anything that has mayonnaise in it. I fucking can't stand it. Mayonnaise is not supposed to be heated up. It gets a wang to it. This is fucking disgusting. But some people seem to be immune to that. I don't get it. The only time any mayonnaise ever works out when it's being baked is in a pie crust. A lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. If you take a bunch of just all-purpose flour and put mayonnaise in it and knead it,
it's like a 2-ingredient pie crust.
That's all you need. Then you got your pie crust.
Because it's got eggs and oil in it. So it's got all the shit already in it.
You say, how do I make a crust? You got eggs? You got mayonnaise? Yep. You got flour? Yep. You got a crust.
You can make a pie crust.
Yep. And some people are like, what? And I think I'd even talk about that in a cookbook, don't I?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just take a bowl of flour, start adding fucking mayonnaise to it and stirring it until you have a dough. And then take that with your hand, press it down into the bottom of any kind of glass pan, and you'll make a damn pie crust. And you can cook it for a few seconds, a few minutes, until it's brown, and then you take it back out and put whatever you want in it, soup or whatever to make a pot pie or any kind of filling, and then put it in there and bake it. And it'll be a light, flaky crust like some French fucking chef made.
Yeah, it turns out really nice.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It turns out really nice.
Yep.
Like I said, super easy. Yeah. Greenspark says, underrated opinion, love a baked potato. See, I kind of feel like I wish more fast food places would offer, 1, a baked potato, 2, big, like, chunky fries. Like wedge fries or big steak fries. I don't know. I kind of feel like, although we've been going, like I said, we've been going to BK more just because it's on the way to the movie theater. It's like the only fast food place that we can like get food before the movie theater. And I remember Burger King. I was never a big fan of Burger King, gotta say. I was always more a Wendy's person.
Yeah.
And McDonald's too.
All right.
But what I was gonna say was that Burger King's fries were always really not. Back in the day, were not good.
They're good now.
Because they were always kind of like, it always felt to me back in the old days that Burger King was like, well, we're going to do McDonald's fries, but they always overcooked them. I always kind of felt like they were too brown, too crunchy. It's like they just didn't do them right. But now they kind of have like bigger, fluffier, softer ones. And it's like, I don't know, they're like way better.
All right, Trey Simmons says he saw that the Pliskin shirt comes in long sleeve. Are you talking about which Pliskin shirt? The one from the factory Pliskin shirt, or the ones that we make? I'm not sure exactly which one.
Yeah, if you want one, let us know.
If you want one, well, let us know. But the Pliskin shirt that you normally see me with, I have a small one and a large one. We can order a long sleeve and do that. Send me probably about $25 for that, probably, huh?
Yeah, that'll cover like shipping and everything.
That'll cover shit. 25 should cover that. Drop in a 25 super chat and I'll send it to you. Just give me your size later on and send Jenny a private message on Instagram or YouTube? Or
probably
YouTube,
Facebook or if you have my email address.
Yeah, we'll get your information.
Facebook would probably be the quickest.
Get your information and your size, and I'll shoot one for you.
Trey says, I saw Wendy's in Toledo, Ohio in 2019 that still had the baked potato bar. Yeah. Man, I remember that.
Now, Victor, he worked...
I missed that.
He worked at Jack, and he thought that was a an urban legend that they use kangaroo meat. It's not an urban legend. I remember when that happened. It happened in California back in the 70s. Early 70s. And it was wallaby. And they didn't use all wallaby. They used some wallaby. They mixed it in with beef because they got a bunch of it from Australia once. And somebody ratted them out. And I think probably McDonald's was probably behind fucking ratting them out on that.
Like I said, that was probably like some corporate bitchiness.
Yeah,
there.
but I wanted to ask somebody to fucking Google that and find out exactly what date that was. I believe it was wallaby, not kangaroo.
Tammy said, Googled it. It comes up as true that Jack in the Box used kangaroo meat in the 1980s.
Mid-1980s? Okay.
But like I said, I kind of feel like... Remember, there was kind of like in the 80s and 90s, there was kind of like a trend for, hey, kangaroo meat.
Yeah.
They're pests in Australia, so it's like really cheap. I remember when I was younger in the 90s, so I was like in my early 20s, the Winn-Dixie store a mile from my house was selling kangaroo meat for a little while.
You could get kangaroo jerky and wallaby jerky.
Yes.
It was a high quality meat. And it wasn't wild, I don't think, per se. I think what it is a lot of farms had infestations of fucking kangaroo, but they're living there on the farm for a long time, and they go out there and they got to shoot all these goddamn kangaroos. What are we going to do with them, you know? The Australians are sick of them. They got fucking thousands of pounds of it. They sold it to fucking restaurants.
Yeah.
It's good meat. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not
like I said.
It's not like you're eating an armadillo.
Like I said, meat's meat.
Yeah.
It's not like you're eating like some gross ass shit or some disease
or a fucking an armadillo
or like I said, a person.
Yeah.
You're not eating human meat. It's fine.
That would be much cleaner than fucking a lot of shit.
It probably would.
But
still might be a little controversial.
The worst of all of the fucking vertebrates is the worst of all the vertebrates would be a buzzard. A buzzard or a fucking vulture. That'd be pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, because they carrion.
Yeah, and then right there alongside that would be a fucking armadillo. Carrion eater. And Coon Ass and Cajun have been eating fucking armadillo forever. And if they still doing that, the bitches need to be smacked. Because there's not that much poverty anymore in Louisiana. You know, they do that shit really. If you ask me, a lot of times they do that shit to prove how Cajun they are.
They're stunting.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna eat this one.
They're stunting.
Yeah. They're like, well, you gonna eat that? Oh yeah. You know, fucking dude, don't eat that. Oh, we're gonna eat this one.
Like I said, it's almost like a little bit. It's going into like fucking stunting territory.
Yeah.
Where they're just kind of like, we're just gonna eat this gross ass shit because like other people don't like it.
Yeah, they do eat roadkill. They do eat roadkill. Yeah, my uncle used to eat it all the time, as long as it was fresh. And he would fucking jump out there. If there was a deer that was hit, and he'd run up, don't
waste that.
How long has this been here? Because this is fresh. You know what I mean? And he'd pull it off the side of the road, fucking pull out a pocket knife, cut the guts out of it, field dress it, and throw it in the back of a fucking trunk. Take it home. And he had a fucking thermometer and everything to fucking test how warm it was. You know what I mean? Fucking. Like, this has been out here at high temperature for too long. It's probably spoiled.
I mean, you know,
because you have to know. You have to know.
Free food. I guess.
Yeah. My uncle he was fucking crazy. He was fucking Cajun. Part of my family, though, there's a Cajun wing to my family. They're fucking crazy. They're funny though. They're funny. Yeah.
But you have to think too. That's kind of the same kind of logistics that dumpster divers.
Yeah.
Would kind of go into where it's like we jump in the dumpster and we're kind of like, okay, we're getting free food, but is this shit still in the package?
Yeah. Right,
How long has it been in here? Has other shit touched it?
They're not like that. Cajuns aren't like that. They're like the Vietnamese of white people. They eat every fucking thing if it's wild. They'll try to. Well, think we can eat that? They're like that. You know, you think we can eat that? Yeah, I think we can eat that. Just fucking. But do
they ever consider, should we eat that?
No. It's just, and they'll fucking. It just depends on who you're talking about too. They're just like, this is good. You know, this meat is good. We're not gonna waste this meat. Although it's not what it was, and the uncle that I'm talking about is dead now. He was doing this mostly in the 70s and the 80s. And Louisiana was more rural back then, so there was more choice roadkill, I think. Because as it kind of more suburbanized, you didn't see as much wildlife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Across the road. So I remember that fucking bullshit. That
It's not like back in the old days when it was like rural and you'd find like a dead deer. Oh, this just got hit. I'm gonna eat this shit.
Somebody else fucking left it and shit. But and the shit would be out of season and you're worried about fucking game wardens and shit. You know? But that was during the time where, you know, every fucking house had huge bug zappers and clouds of fucking insects fucking being killed by the bug zappers. And outside every fucking shopping mall at night were just fucking swarms of fucking insects going underneath those fucking parking lot lights. And all that shit's gone. I remember that as a kid. You were taking your life into your hands at night in the deep south around those fucking lights. Nothing but fucking mosquito hawks, mosquitoes, fucking weird cicadas and moths and shit. Just swarms of them. I guess insecticides got them.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Those big old fucking black locusts.
Yeah, I saw this a lot as a kid.
Yeah, they're gone.
Like I said, my grandmother probably killed like a large portion of the population of them.
Sphinx moth larvae. Eating things up. It's all just kind of fucking, it's gone. It's all gentrified now. They gentrified the wilderness. It used to be like the Amazon basin.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Trey says Red Robin has the steak fries. Yeah, they do. We've been to Red Robin a couple times. But that's like a sit-down restaurant. That's like not fast food. That's more like fast casual, I guess. That's more like a sit-down restaurant. And they have the unlimited French fries. You can get all the French fries you want.
He's talking about the Zazzle store.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can do the Zazzle store, although I had one of those shirts, and that fucking, that's done by a robot that actually sprays that on there. And it didn't last long at all.
Although, to be honest with you, I have a bunch of those Zazzle shirts, and they still look good.
They still look good?
So maybe
my Pliskin shirt disintegrated after about a year.
Maybe your like sweat pH is not conducive to.
You just have to say, okay.
Maybe you're just dirty.
No.
No, I've had a lot of those, and it's like they still look good.
Tammy says not eating human meat yet. Yeah, so I agree.
I'm not averse. Depends on
the situation.
Depends on who we're talking about.
Better than dying.
Who are we talking about eating? I'll eat some motherfuckers. Soylent Green.
All depends on how bad shit goes. I mean, you could Google this shit just to look up fucking Chinese flesh banquets. Back during the 70s and the 80s, during China's Cultural Revolution, you had Chinese people eating other people in a thing called a flesh banquet because they were capitalists. And it wasn't because of starvation. They did survivors of it. People that were around said, no, they weren't starving. It was just revolutionary hatred. They would fucking get into a damn circular firing squad and just start accusing somebody of being a capitalist. And the next thing you know, they're saying, oh, capitalists are trying to eat us and eat our profits, trying to eat us with profits and shit. And they jump on some motherfucker, beat him to death, and eat him. Well, sounds like a myth, but it's true. And there's whole books of it. Chinese flesh banquets. This shows you how evil people can be. Human beings are evil, hairless monkeys. Never forget that. You whip them up into a frenzy, they'll do anything. It's witch trial shit, dancing diseases back in the Middle Ages, just weird fucking behavior from crowds. Masses
not everybody does that, though.
It's masses. It's crowds.
Not everybody does that, though. There's always a certain percentage that are like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about the percentage that does it. You know, don't try to be a saving grace. I'm just saying. Do it.
I'm just saying, not everybody would do that. Fuckers are dangerous. Yeah, they are. I'm just saying that, yeah, like I would eat people if I had to, you know.
Everybody would.
It's if it came down to like, well, we're gonna die or we have to like eat a human. Yeah, obviously.
Well, there are people that's playing crash victims and shit. You know, it's different than hunting somebody down and eating them.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Now, if somebody really, really sucked, and like they were the worst of the worst, and they did something to me that was like really super bad and everything like that, and I really wanted to punish them, I'd probably eat them.
So you're gonna go Hannibal Lecter on them?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not saying that wouldn't happen. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Because that would be like, I know they're not gonna be like alive to enjoy it. But I would get some satisfaction out of it.
I had to be in a really bad mood.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm always in a bad mood. So I could kind of see myself doing that. But you'd have to do something really, really bad.
Robert's back after the buffering. Yeah,
really
man.
bad.
We restarted.
Yeah, we had to restart because my shit went like fucking red light.
Karen says back in the 60s we had a bug fogger that would drive around. I remember those things too. The big
we had that.
Bug trucks.
Yeah,
they would go,
we had the mosquito trucks that like had all the, and it would like smell really weird.
Yep, they would fog up your whole downtown. People would shit a brick if they saw that shit today. Back when I was a kid, we'd be out there and the fucking truck would be going, blasting that fog out of the back of it. We'd be dancing in it. Dancing in that fucking...
Well, that explains a lot, Thomas.
That's just the way it was. Oh, they were saying it was fucking safe for humans. It probably DDT. But
I'm sure it was.
But we were fucking dancing in it, having fun.
Well, even back then, nowadays, like, you know, it's kind of like my parents were like, yeah, don't go outside when that's like fucking spring. We don't know what the fuck's in that shit.
I don't know what was in it.
It's probably nothing good. But I do remember that. Ours, they said,
DDT.
It's the mosquito trucks.
Yeah, the mosquito trucks, yeah.
And they would go down the street and stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it was probably DDT. Before that was illegal.
Yeah, DDT probably... I heard that the DDT thing was kind of a corporate power struggle, that it was nowhere near as dangerous as that they were saying, that there was they did some... That a lot of tests against it were fraudulent. That DDT was actually a miracle insecticide that saved millions and millions of people in Africa from, what do you call that shit? Not bubonic plague. What do you call this shit? Not influenza. You get it from mosquitoes. It clogs up your fucking...
Encephalitis or malaria?
No, malaria.
Okay.
Malaria. That saved millions of people in Africa from malaria. And that, some people could have had reactions to it, but it was kind of the thing where it was such a slim possibility. It saved so many people when it was around. I remember that they said that they thought that it might have been a damn conspiracy to get it out of the hands of the Africans to help prevent overpopulation in Africa. But that might be plausible.
Although everything's not a conspiracy.
Not a conspiracy. I mean, it's never a conspiracy when you plan to drop a bomb on a motherfucker or when you plan to kill. It's just, you know what, let's not give this to these people because they might overpopulate. That wouldn't be a conspiracy. That would just be a direct action. There are corporations that do that kind of shit. But, yeah, that might have been DDT. But I remember fucking seeing training films from like the fucking 50s and 40s about DDT, or might have been 50s, where they would just spraying kids with it, and then like all their headlights would fall off. Like they go up to Appalachia and shit, spray the kids in the whole house with fucking DDT to fucking get rid of lice and head mites and fucking all kinds of... It probably worked. Probably worked real well.
Do they still do that shit nowadays? Because I kind of feel like when I was in elementary school in the 80s, and, you know, my parents were in a daycare as well, every now and then you'd have the people come in and check everybody for lice.
Yeah.
Do they do that anymore?
I think it's all been wiped out.
I mean, I would hope so. But
I remember my dad took the dog and put the dog inside, laid a blanket down on the ground in the fucking living room, and put the dog in the middle of the blanket and wrapped the dog up in the blanket. And then took a fucking spray can of fucking DDT and sprayed it in there on that dog. And kept the dog was fighting for a few seconds. And they let the dog out. And in the center of that fucking blanket was a pile of dead fucking fleas. It killed every flea on that dog. That's how good that shit was.
How long did that dog live?
No, forever.
Well,
it died
not
later.
Forever,
it didn't, years and years. But, that was a trip. I remember it. I remember my dad talking shit about it, too. This is gonna get him. That was what it said on the instructions.
This is gonna get him?
Yeah, this is gonna get him. Well, he knew the dog had fleas. It was an outside dog.
Yeah.
Backyard out in California. Yeah, this is gonna get him. This will kill every one of them fleas. Watch this. You know, he fucking had his... and you hear the dog in there barking.
I'm fogging the dog.
Fogging that dog.
Dog fogging.
Yeah, and then he let the dog out, and the dog was like, "What the fuck?" Ran.
What
and
are you
there's a big old pile of dead fleas. It's killed every fucking flea. It just fell off that dog, and they weren't even moving. From what I remember, the fleas weren't even moving. Killed them instantly. Some shit, man. I don't even know if they'd sell anything like that nowadays.
Probably not.
No.
Because I'm sure there's all kind of like horrible carcinogens and shit like that in that.
Dog didn't seem to mind.
Well, how would you know? It's a dog. They can't really like talk to you and be like, hey, can you like not do that?
Got rid of all the fleas. You can drop it in the comment section if you guys remember that.
Karen
That was
said,
back in the
haha,
day.
this is gonna get him.
Yeah.
That I kind of feel like that should be the brand name. This is gonna get him.
Yeah.
TM.
Yeah.
Yeah, Victor said we had those mosquito foggers up in the 90s here in Texas. I kind of feel like we had them until... I kind of feel like it was the early 90s, right? It was probably the early 90s. Because I remember them going down the street, like, but when I was at my grandmother's house, and that was like early 90s.
See, Trey remembers that shit. He says, yeah, the South in the 70s, bug-wise, was fucking scary. It was those neon arc lights. Yeah, those neon arc lights. You remember those fucking swarms? And then all night long, you hear bugs hitting those fucking lights.
Yep.
Patak, patak, patak.
And they were so big that it was like, yeah.
They'd hit and they go, patak, and then sometimes the bug would fall and hit the asphalt, book, and then go, brrr, and then take off again. It was fucking bizarre. It's like straight out of something out of fucking Stephen King movie, like The Mist.
Well, I told
straight
you,
out of shit like that.
My grandmother, back in the day, she was a tiny, tiny little woman. She was probably like my height, 5'2", 5'3", maybe 90 pounds. This tiny little woman, but she was badass. She did not brook any snakes, any insects, anything like that in her little garden. She grew tomatoes, shit like that. She would go out there every single morning, and any snake that was out there, any insect that was out there, she was just like taking care of it. And she would like not even like, she would pick the shit up with her hand. Those big grasshoppers, those big ones. She would take it and she'd be like,
yeah.
And she like throw it into the road. Yeah. And she did the same with snakes, pick them up.
Y'all probably remember those fucking black grasshoppers.
Oh, you know what happened with me? Like one time, this is like really upsetting. Well, once an animal, this is weird, but like once an animal gets to a certain size, squishing it is not
an option
on the table anymore. Yeah. I'm not squishing a mouse, okay? That's
they were bigger
gross.
than crawfish once they got black.
Yeah, so once you get like to the size of like Florida grasshoppers, that's not acceptable. No. But one time I was taking a walk around my grandmother's neighborhood, and I wasn't really looking where I was going, and apparently, according to the person that I was walking with, I stepped on one of those without looking at it, and that still haunts me to this day.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, because those bitches were
big.
Yeah. Like that. And they were like super, super meaty.
First time I saw one, I was probably about 5, Mississippi, and ran up on one that was out in the damn front yard of like a great aunt's house. She'd been long dead. She was ancient back when I was a little baby. I ran up on that black grasshopper, and that black grasshopper looked at me, and those wings went, started fluttering with those yellow and purple. It scared the shit out of me, man.
Yeah, they're like red, like, yellow, black. They had
my dad started pulling me back. Don't touch it. That's a locust. And I just remember I was it scared the shit out of me. Last time I saw one was around 2000, maybe 14, when we first started hanging out. Yeah. I was working at the barn.
That was a long time ago.
When was that?
2011?
Actually,
2012?
I used to be the caretaker for a real rich doctor. Okay, his family built Orlando General Hospital. His name was Dr. Matt. His mom built that hospital. Dr. Matt had a big old Southern style plantation mansion and a barn with about 6 horses in it. So I took care of his barn and all of his horses and fucking took care of his grounds. He'd go out, he and his whole family would go to Egypt and fucking Israel. He was a Jewish doctor, good guy. And fucking they'd go to Israel for fucking months at a time, and I'd take care of his grounds for him. I was like, he was badass, man.
He had a big property. I went there a couple times, like when you were working there.
Yeah, he's big into like AR-15s and fucking. He was a science guy, a little weedy, kind of nerdy guy, but he really liked military stuff. So we would talk about his AR-15s and guns and shit. He liked to defend his house, you know. So he trusted me with his grounds and his horses and stuff. The last time I saw one of those black locusts was in his barn, and it was on its side fighting with itself, dying. Remember how they would just kind of like start to die and malfunction on it?
God, they're so big.
Yeah, that fucker was huge, and
it's
that was
a bug, but it's like massive.
When was that? 2015.
I met you in 2010.
So it must have been around 2011. It was during the time you used to come to the barn and fucking watch me work.
Yeah, I used to come with you a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, I only had to work twice a day. Go down there, fucking take all the horses out, muck stalls, do basic grooming on horses.
Yeah, we took all the horses out to like the pasture,
right,
and then you go like clean the stalls.
Yeah, and then like on certain days I'd fucking mow the place. He had those big ride-on mowers and fucking make sure you let all the chickens out, feed chickens. Did little security. He had a large property. It was near our old house before we moved here. Because it's a real nice neighborhood. You would never know that was there. It was like something out of Disneyland. White.
Well, it's like on this little bitty street that's like
private
a little
road
bitty
goes out to,
private road, yeah.
And
like seriously, maybe a mile or two from our old house.
Yeah, and it was pretty neat. I'd love to have a house like that, but that was fucking $5 million at least, and that was $5 Florida million, which that's a fucking lot.
Yeah, it was a massive property.
And that house was fucking beautiful, and it wasn't one of these McMansions. That was real wood and real old school type shit, but it was modern.
And he had a lot of property.
A lot of property, yeah.
That was like a big.
It wasn't an old house, but it was built like an old house. It was very expensive. He could pull his house. He could pull his car in, and it had like It had a big rotation, a big rotary driveway that went in front of the house, and then you could pull up into a carport that had an overhang, and you could get into the side, and then the car could go into a remote garage. It was nice, and it was 2 stories and grand pianos, and it was fucking nice. He had a pool and a jacuzzi, didn't he? Yeah, pool and a jacuzzi. And then a bunch of property. And he had corn out there and fucking a little farm. And it was funny because he didn't need it. It's what they did. So he just kind of liked, he liked to pretend that he was living in the country. He wasn't in the country.
Not really.
No, he was in.
Especially not nowadays.
No.
Because we live in that same neighborhood. We used to live in that same neighborhood.
Right.
And it's like, it's all suburbanized.
It was basically the Orlando's version of Beverly Hills. But he had so much property, it felt like you were in the country. Big old fucking trees and shit and horses. But that's the last time I saw one of those black locusts. And you see, it starts off as a grasshopper. But something happens to its stress. It can't get enough food, and it turns into...
They start out as like, maybe if you're watching the shit instead of like listening to it, they start about this big, and they're black with like yellow stripes on them.
Yeah.
But... Then, for some years, I don't think it happens every year, but whatever, like if the environmental situation is right or something like that, they kind of like hulk out and they become these big, huge, they're like, how long are they? They're like at least,
6 inches,
they're like
6
6
and a half,
inches,
7 inches long, yeah.
7 inches long.
Yeah.
They become these big, huge, yellow and black striped massive thing. Well, and they have these
armored
wings
with these huge heads.
Yeah, and they have big heads, and they have like these wings that have like black and red. They're massive.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it doesn't happen every year. It's like a locust kind of situation. But I remember them a lot from when I was growing up because my grandmother, she was kind of... My grandmother was kind of like...
Tila just joined the
I know, I just saw that.
Yeah.
My grandmother was like in a constant fight against them because she was always trying to grow tomato plants in front of her house. And those locusts love to eat tomato plants. So she would have to go out every morning, like on reconnaissance, and like pull them off of her tomato plants because they were eating all the leaves. And she'd pull them and she'd squish them. And she'd throw them into the road. And it was just kind of... But they were so big. It's like they were as big as fucking mice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, I don't know what, like I said, once an animal gets to a certain size, whether it's a bug or not, it's always like really upsetting to like squish it because it's like, it's like a real animal at that point. You know what I'm saying? It's like one thing to like swat a fly or something like that, which is like tiny, but
They're
it's
bigger
like
than a crawfish.
Yeah, they're big.
They're big.
They're big.
It's kind of like you're in the presence of a very small lobster.
Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah, that's kind. Yeah, they do fly.
Yeah.
They're not gross though. They're actually kind of cool looking.
Mean. They're mean though. They're aggressive.
They're aggressive. Yeah, they are aggressive. Victor says, I just watched 8-Legged Freaks last night. It's on Netflix.
What's up, Mr. Roboto?
I actually really like it, 8-Legged Freaks. Big Ass Spider is another one that's decent in that same genre, if you're into that. Yeah, hi there, Mr. Roboto. Man, everybody's like showing up late.
Yeah.
Friday night.
It's all right. We're still working.
Tila says, I looked in the fridge, no juice, gotta go grocery shopping. Vodka rocks for me tonight. Holy crap.
We gotta make a supply run. I gotta go to Sam's here too, man. I got all kinds of frozen stuff, but it's kind of like just nothing but pork tenderloin. I need some variety. I got a damn beef roast in there. I made some beef sandwiches the other day. I fucking roasted that bitch fucking out on the fucking grill. Used some of that liquid smoke on it. Made good beef sandwiches. Roast beef sandwiches.
We've been eating like roast beef sandwiches for like 3 days.
Yeah, off and on. And pizza.
And I'm not bothered. Oh.
Yeah, and pizza.
Well, after the Wednesday night show, Tom's like, yeah, I'm going to Domino's. Because that's like I'm like so drunk I barely remember. At least I ordered it right online because I was scared.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, and I was like, oh my God. Hopefully I don't like give them $100 or something, but I did okay. You got me, I don't remember what you got, but you got like some pizza and I was just kind of like, well, just get me like a medium pizza because I can't eat that. And I sat here and ate every single piece of that pizza. Because, you know, drunk. When you're drunk, everything seems like a good idea. And to be honest, I'm actually glad that it didn't like have any adverse side effects because usually if I eat that much pizza at once, the next day I will be like, oh man, like I will be barfing my fucking face off.
Yeah.
But next day I was like, oh, you know what? I feel okay.
Hugo says, I've been looking big. I'm hitting the gym and probably lots of juice. No. Normal 200 milligrams of test a week. Do HCG. And a couple of days ago, I got some juice. You don't see any juice effects right now. It takes a while for juice effects comes in. But it's part of my TRT protocol. I have a synthetic testosterone-like substance. Let's just put it that way. I'm going through it, puberty part 3 right now. Fucking sweating out that grease, smelling like a damn evil gorilla again. My mind's good, though. My mind's all right.
Seems like all you've been doing is sleeping, though.
Sleeping. It's making me real
sleeping
sleepy.
And hanging out at the biker bar.
Yeah, it makes me real sleepy. Well, it's only been 2 days. It makes me sleepy. And I lifted today, and I fucking hit the fuck out of that shit. I was just like, man, I was a lot stronger. And then as soon as I got done, it told me to go to sleep. It was like the poltergeist jumping on me and said, you better fucking sleep. But I had to do the show. I was sitting there fighting it. Felt like I was on morphine or something. But then I made a comeback. I fought my way back through that cloud of masculinity. I had to come back out, make my comeback, do the show.
We're all very proud of you, Dom.
Yes. Had to take a shower and everything. Just get that fucking smell off me.
Oh
like
my
somebody
goodness.
fucking slathered me up with Crisco. That's right. It's like Zach did something bad to me.
I don't know. This cracks me up because I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
Zach, I'm talking about you, Zach. I'm talking about
well, no, I'm just like, bitch, I'm tired all the time, like 24/7, and I always have to be like, man, I have to like do this, that, and the other thing. So I always kind of have to like bring myself out to do it, and it's kind of like so.
She's been getting a lot of orders, a lot of jobs. Her clients are fucking constantly got her out there working.
Man, I got 2 jobs I got to do in the morning tomorrow on Saturday, and I thought I was gonna have a day off.
It's money.
But I guess off. I know.
Money. It's good.
But I kind of feel like people do kind of pile on at the end of the week. They're like, "Hey, can you do this?" Like,
yeah. It's so funny how it just evolved to where you're just working for yourself now.
Yeah, which, like I
all
said,
that money you lost working for those other.
I wouldn't go back.
Yeah.
But it's still stressful. Right. It's just a different kind of stress. And honestly, it's like, it's stress that I put on myself, I guess, largely. And I think a lot of the problem comes from, I'm one of those kind of people that, like, if somebody gives me something to do, like, for example, like, somebody sends me, like, a client sent me, hey, can you, like, do this poster or whatever? I don't want to, like, think about it for longer than I have to. So I will do it as quickly as I can manage. I want to get it out of the way. You know what I'm saying? There you go, with your sexy hat.
I'm putting the sexy hat back.
Can I put the sexy hat on? Let me see what the sexy hat. Let me see what it looks like on me.
All right.
I don't think I've tried this
We're
on.
going back to sexy cowboy hat. Sexual tyrannosaur. Here you go.
Wait.
Probably look better on you than it does on me.
Well, everything does.
Oh.
Oh,
you got it. Yeah, put that on. There you go. Yeah.
it does.
It does. It looks good. You can wear it. You can have it.
All right. I'm
You can
just
have
saying.
it. It's hot. That's the only thing I don't like about
Well,
it. It doesn't breathe right. It's kind of hot.
I'm used to that.
Yeah. Oh. Actually, I want one that's a little bit smaller. It looks right on you.
It is kind of big. Well, because I
got
have a
more
big
hair.
head. I have a big head.
No, you have hair.
Yeah.
I'm bald, so it's loose.
I like it, actually.
Yeah. Here, let me see.
I kind of feel like
Turn
maybe.
No,
what?
face me. I gotta. No, it has to be rakish, very rakish like this. There you go.
I feel like I should be in the Genitorturers.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm gonna whip some
That's the
bitches.
Genitorturer's hat. Yeah.
I'm Ilse, she-wolf of the SS.
Yeah.
You guys know about that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so what was I saying? So I kind of I like to get stuff out of the way. So consequently, many of my clients, because I have like a handful of regular clients that I do shit for all the time, and so they have gotten very used to me doing their shit like immediately. So there's kind of a thing where, you know, it's Friday afternoon, like 4 p.m., and I'm just kind of like, woo, end of the week. We're going to do the show now. I'm going to drink. We're going to relax. And then suddenly I get 3 emails from people that are like, hey, can you do this show for me like right now? And I'm just like, no, I cannot. But I'll have to do it like this weekend, even though I don't want to. So there's that whole thing. That's the only thing about, like I said, I wouldn't go back to like doing 9 to 5 shit because that blows. But doing shit freelance, you can't really have a thing where it's like, oh, it's the weekend now, because a lot of times people will send me stuff and I have to do it, like I have to work over the weekend. I don't really get a day off in that sense because there might be stuff coming in.
Both y'all can take my money. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Tina said that was sexy. That would be, yeah, that is sexy on you, Jenny. That would be even sexier if your boobs were out. We got to get you something low cut.
I'm not gonna get like. Why are you trying to get me demonetized?
No, not totally out. I'm just saying, we need some like, some.
So I have to like
Jen from Genitorturers.
So I have to wear something
low
like
cut
more,
with some cleavage. Yeah,
I have something. I have stuff like that. It's just like I don't usually wear it on the show because on the show I'm trying to like just relax and have a good time.
It is too distracting, huh? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Look at it. Look. That looks good.
What?
Oh, you missed it. Here, just showing you.
I missed what?
It looks. See, it looks good.
What? I'm super
The hat.
fancy.
Yeah,
No.
the hat looks good.
Like I said, I'm into it. You guys saw the Genitorturers back in the day? We saw them not too long ago.
We ran into Jen.
We did. That was a while back. That was
I haven't seen her in
probably
a while.
shit, man. How many years ago was that?
I don't know.
I saw her a bunch back in the fucking 90s, but we saw her in 2014, 2015, something like that.
Yeah, if you guys don't know who we're talking about, I'm gonna show you guys a.
Genitorturers, bitch. Come on.
Yeah.
I like this hat.
Yeah, that's good.
It is big. I see what you're saying. It's big. But I don't know. I always kind of like thought of myself as a hat person. I like hats.
Yeah.
I like hats. I like a lot of action going on up here on the top of my head. It distracts away from my actual face.
There's Jen from Genitorturers.
Yeah.
That was a good album. I got that when I was in the army.
I have that too.
Yeah.
I have the CD actually.
Yeah, it's a good album.
It's right back there somewhere.
It's kind of a.
I saw her on that tour.
Yeah.
Honestly, we saw her a couple years ago, and she doesn't actually look that different.
No, she looks just like that.
She looks pretty much.
Yeah, we talked to her
exactly
for
the
a bit. She's up there trying to sell merch. She was selling merch. People were buying from her.
Yeah.
Saw her at Firestone.
That's right. Yeah, we saw them. Did we see them by themselves, or were they opening for
Matter of
someone
fact, that
else?
might be. Is that Firestone right there?
Or is that the castle?
Ooh. I don't think that's the castle. But yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
That was around that
picture.
time.
Yeah. Trey says, Oscar says, Jenny, I mean, if you got it, flaunt it. Trey says, I've tried hats like that too, and like Tom said, they just look too big on me, and I have hair. It's just they never sit right. Yeah, it's just kind of like...
That's a medium. I need to get a small. And, you know, because I don't have any hair, so it just...
Honestly, I
too loose.
have kind of a very small head.
Yeah.
And I have hair, but not that much hair, because the sides are all shaved. I only have hair on the top. But I always feel like I look better with stuff up here.
See, this is the shit, man. Look, I got Con of Atzlan, who's a regular. He's in Tijuana. Send me pictures of what he's eating. Live on Feeky's got, look, man.
I'm
eating gorditas.
Yeah, make me hungry.
Yeah, I'm eating gorditas.
We're gonna have to like make food after this.
We did go down to a Mexican restaurant.
Go buy some gorditas. That should be closed though. It's too late.
It's too late to go down there now.
That's exactly pretty much what they look like here.
Well, that looks exactly what you make.
Yeah, similar.
He makes his own tortillas and everything. Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm kind of like... I'm looking at myself in the thing going like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this hat.
It looks good.
I don't know.
You just need the rest of the outfit. You got the rest of the outfit. You just got to put the rest of the outfit on.
I do, but I'm not wearing it right now. Like
No,
I said.
yeah.
God damn.
That would look good. You wear that to club.
You gonna like bequeath this to me then?
You can have it. Yeah.
No, don't do that.
I'll get another one. No,
it looks nice on you though.
I'll get another one. I want a smaller one.
Okay.
That's a medium one.
Are you saying my head's too big?
You have hair.
I know. I'm just.
How many times do I fucking say this shit to her?
I'm just.
You have hair. You have hair. So yeah, it's about right. Because I'm bald, it's got to actually be smaller than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel
because
like
there's slack in it.
I feel like Ilse. She will for the SS. I need like a fucking whip and some thigh high boots and.
Yeah, you have. We gotta get you another pair of Demodio pleasers.
I have some knee high boots. I don't have any thigh high boots. My thighs are too big for thigh high boots. I can't wear that shit. What are you doing, Poke? What? Hey, what have you decided? What have you decided? Come here.
Everything's gonna work out on you though. You'll be able to wear all kinds of shit. It's gonna take time. I got you on a good program. Good program, good diet. Your exercise is right. Your hormones are right. Just wait. You fucking have there's been recomposition happening in you. Big time. Your legs look totally different.
Well, yeah, and I have actually like slimmed down in my midsection.
Yeah. Telling you that was age and hormonal profiles.
And it's kind of like, I've got my exercise bike and I'm doing like that every day. That's helping. Well, not eating as much helps as much.
Well, now that
helps a lot too.
Now you can metabolize, build muscle, and burn fat. And you see, you have to have the right hormonal fucking levels going on in your blood chemistry for that to happen. You have to basically be in a perpetual teenager blood chemistry. Ask Bee's Nest. He's not in there right now. I got that bitch on the same program, a male version of that program. He's lost 80 pounds in about 3 months. Because you can burn fat, and because you can now eat, and when you work, your body responds. It's hormonal. As soon as you get past 40, the hormones aren't there, so you got to put them in there. It's called hormone replacement.
Although, like I said, I kind of feel like the older I get, the better I feel eating less. If I eat too much at one time, I just always feel like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
I can't eat a lot of food at once. Oh my goodness. Look at her. Look at her.
What you doing?
Oh.
What's up, Pope?
Ilse sent her a little... Well, it's not little. It's big. It's like half her size, and it's like a little Dracula.
Yeah.
And he's crinkly.
And right now, Ilse is at the club with
DJ Maniac.
With DJ Maniac.
She is like super into that like Dracula right now.
What are you doing? Stop tearing shit up. Hey, no. No, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. Tearing up the posters.
Well, because we're not paying attention to her, so
Yeah.
she's kind of like, hey, I'm gonna make all this noise. Give me the crinkly ball, poop. Hey. Yeah.
What?
Oh my
Don't
goodness,
talk back.
seriously?
Don't talk back to your mama.
Don't touch my butt.
Yeah, Karen says, Tom, your arms are proof to me. Thank you very much, Karen. I could have done this at 16, 17, 18, 25. Past 30, 35, it would have been hard to maintain. After 40, very difficult. After 50, no fucking way. You have to go through hormone replacement therapy, which is legal and cheap and supervised by doctors and regular blood work. And yeah, to get started, you're probably going to lay out about $600 to get started. After that, you're probably looking at about $200 a month. But you get your needles, your HCG to keep you fucking fertile. It's a fucking fertility drug, and then your testosterone supply. Once you got that, and your blood chemistry starts working out with your fucking quarterly blood tests, you see what's going on, you work out, and the body responds now. It's like you were when you were a kid. If you lose your eyesight, you wear fucking glasses. If you lose your teeth, you put in false teeth. If you lose your fucking hormones, you put in hormones. It's just that your metabolism will run right, and you'll live longer. Jack LaLanne lived into his 90s doing basically what I'm doing now. Just that he probably didn't use test. He probably used a mixture of test and Anavar. And as long as you're not abusing anabolic compounds in your youth and tearing yourself up for that first 40 or 50 years, as long as you're not doing that, you're free to kind of use whatever agents you want in your second half of life. And it will be the science and the data proves that if done correctly, it constitutes life extension. You'll function as a younger person if you catch it early, and you'll live longer. You'll avoid osteoporosis. You'll avoid clogged arteries. You'll avoid things that are associated with obesity. And it'll keep stage 2 diabetes from becoming stage 1, and you can actually reverse diabetes. So that's been reported also. I had a propensity towards stage 2, but once the weight loss is there and it has been mitigated, and blood pressure goes down, and then that propensity towards stage type 2 diabetes starts to go away. I don't have any diabetes. My fucking blood comes back clean as a motherfucker. I have the red blood cell count of like an Olympic athlete. My doctor said next time you come in here for a test, go ahead and give blood. I guess because the red blood cell count this high by law, I'm not really supposed to be treating you. You're too healthy. They know what they're doing, you know. But yeah, I don't get winded. I could run forever because I just got so many red blood cells.
Oscar says, how bad is alcohol for muscle growth?
Depends. If you are depending on natural testosterone production, it's bad because alcohol suppresses your natural testosterone production, so that could affect it. But you see, I don't worry about natural testosterone production because I inject it. So I have testosterone no matter what I do. Even if I miss sleep, it doesn't fucking matter. I have testosterone. Okay, here's the deal. Without testosterone replacement therapy, I was making 146 nanograms per deciliter. Normal is more like 600. So I had the testosterone levels of a fucking very old man. That could happen for many reasons. Depression, anxiety, PTSD is another thing that can do that. When I went on HCG, my testosterone levels went up to 900 nanograms per deciliter. That's fucking very, very good. All right. If I come off of HCG, it stays around 850, 900. That's my normal production. When I'm injecting, like the ones they give me, I'm somewhere between 1600 and 1900. That's fucking superhuman. That's just top of the line, grade A, male at about 20. genetically gifted is about 1,200. I'm 16 to 18. So if I was a girl with implants, I'd be like fucking... If I was a girl with boobs, I basically would be fucking Penelope Black Diamond, that chick with the fucking beach balls. I mean, that's what my testosterone level is. Now, there's other things you can get your hands on. Okay. Anabolic agents that, if used properly, you can come down on the testosterone a bit, or you can keep it the same. And you can use those agents, and those agents actually reduce androgen loading. So in other words, it's not as much stress on you as normal testosterone. But the anabolic growth agents are like 6 to 1 versus the other stuff. So you can put on a couple pounds. The key to all that shit is not to overdo it. Minimum effective doses. Do not become addicted to it. Don't go out there and try to put on fucking 60, 70 pounds of muscle. The heart is not meant to drive that much muscle. That's the problem with a lot of those IFBB fucking bodybuilders on the fucking... on the Olympia stage. Those dudes are way, way, way above genetic potential. And muscle is very hungry for blood. And their blood pressures are fucking super high. And they get tired really quickly. You don't want to really go above your genetic potential. Which is really, on me, that's another 10 pounds probably. Maybe 15. That would be as big as I would get under perfect natural conditions. You go above that, you're constantly going to have to be on some kind of drug to maintain that muscle mass. And why would you want to do that? You want to get to about what your potential is and then just nurture that for the rest, and be healthy for the rest of your life. You're not trying to be like that fucking Conan in that painting I had back there. That's not what you're trying to be. You're just trying to look good and be healthy. That's what that's all about. Looking good, being healthy, living a long time. Okay, I'm done.
All right. Tila says, Jack LaLanne went to my high school, Berkeley High, famous alumni.
He was a good dude. And one of the first really fucking professional dudes when it came to health and fitness. And he was about my size. I think he was 5'6". Motherfucker swam across the English Channel fucking carrying a fucking rowboat in his teeth.
Can she get out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come here.
Robert Kitchen says, I have a really bad habit of eating before I go to bed. I don't usually do that. Sometimes if we drink a lot, like if we come home from the bar and I'm like really hungry, like I'll eat right before I go to sleep, but I don't usually. Like right now I'm really hungry, but I haven't eaten all that much today.
Yeah.
I had eggs like early this morning, and then I had like a beef sandwich at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, but I haven't eaten anything since then. What's up, Poop? So, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of times, that's kind of the thing. You drink a lot. Drinking makes you hungry. So you have like a lot of, you drink a lot, and that's a lot of calories, and then you're kind of like, man, I want some pancakes or some shit. You always want like some carby food or like some eggs or something. Or some fatty. I don't know. But to be honest with you, yesterday, I ate almost nothing. I ate one tiny roast beef sandwich and 2 cups of coffee. That was all I ate all day yesterday. Because like I said, you came home from the bar and you fell asleep. And so you didn't make anything. And I was just kind of like, well, I'm not going to make anything. And then by the time I got hungry, I was like, well, it's too late for me to go get anything. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just not going to eat.
Victor says, I need to look into TRT. Fucking, what he says? I lost 10 pounds after switching jobs. That's it. I'd like to lose another 30. Fucking, we've had a guest on the show named the Angry Gay Pope. Angry Gay Pope's been on fucking TRT and fucking anabolics for fucking ever. But they gave him that because he has another illness that he's constantly fighting. But the TRT fucking out in California, fucking, you can't go into a gay club if you're not fucking on TRT. That's like trying to be a porn star without fucking breast implants. But Angry Gay Pope fucking, he extols it. He keeps asking me, Tom, are you on TRT? I don't fucking answer that motherfucker. I just let him wonder. Tom, you on testosterone? And he asked me that shit in public. He didn't fucking send me anything in a private message, so I just don't answer that bitch.
He's cool though. I like.
Yeah, he's cool, but he's
like
asking me that shit in public, on Facebook.
Well, there is kind of thing.
That's a private question. I mean, on the show, I'm fucking open with it. You know what I mean? But I do joke around in public on fucking Facebook to my friends. They know what I'm talking about because everybody who knows me knows what I do. And but I just got this fucking angry gay pope jumping up out of the fucking coming out of the California closet. That dude hadn't been in the closet forever, but he'd fucking jumping out. Tom, are you on TRT? If you were gay, you'd be on TRT. Shit like that. And I ain't answering that bitch.
I don't know why that's the line that you draw in the sand. Because we're kind of like pretty. Although, you know what? I get it. Like, we're on this show. You guys come and watch this stuff. You guys know us. Like, we'll pretty much talk about any whatever on here. I'm not real worried about it. I can't, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't think of a single thing. Well, I'm sure I probably could. I can't think of a single thing that, like, if somebody said something about it, I'd be embarrassed about.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything?
No, I'm not embarrassed. I just get fucking annoyed about it. Imagine if you had some chick just keep asking you if you had implants. Jenny,
Yes.
do you have implants? Jenny, do you have implants?
Yes,
Jenny,
I do have implants.
Jenny, do you have implants? Jenny, but
Yeah.
the motherfucker's asked me 5 times. I've already answered him in public, so I just stopped answering.
Yes, I do have implants.
It's like he doesn't fucking doesn't look at my responses.
I have implants because when I was younger, I used to be really, really heavy. I used to be like 250 pounds or something like that.
You carried it well, though. You didn't
And
look
then
that
I
big.
lost a lot of weight, and my boobs deflated, and so I got implants.
Yeah.
So because
They were big before.
So when I got the implants, it honestly was like, can you just fill these back up, please? Because now they just look like kind of like
they look good.
deflated like pancakes.
Yeah.
Because I used to be like kind of fat, so that's why.
You carried the weight pretty well.
I'm still kind of fat, but I'm just saying that I used
Not
to
as
be.
much as you were,
I
though.
used to be like much, much, much fatter.
Yeah.
Much
When
fatter.
she lost all that weight, she was unrecognizable. I was one of the few people at the club that knew who she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else thought that was a totally different woman.
Everybody thought I was a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I lost like.
You would never know that she lost all that weight, though.
Like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
It was 90 something pounds or 100 pounds, something like that.
Skin looked good and everything. You'd never know that she lost that much weight.
Yeah.
No.
And you know how I did this? I just stopped eating for like 5 months. Not completely,
Not
but
a good idea, but that's what she did. Yeah.
But I was kind of sick of it.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm just gonna do like a short term. I was like, I need to get rid of all this shit.
Weight, yeah.
So I said, I didn't like stop eating completely, but I was like, I'm going like super low calorie, and I got an exercise bike, and I just did like miles and miles and miles like every day. And I said, I'm still gonna eat, but I'm just gonna eat like no carbs, no fat, no nothing. And so like no sugar, no nothing.
Is this it? Which one is it?
This one. That's water.
Okay.
And it works. Like 5 months, I lost like almost 100 pounds. It wasn't completely without side effects because I did have, I developed a heart palpitation, and I had to go to a cardiologist, and they had to put like a fucking heart monitor on me because I started getting, like I said, my heart would speed up. It'd be like blah 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 blah, and then like I started like passing out. So I had to go to like a cardiologist, and they're like, well, you're probably fine, but you lost so much weight in such a short amount of time that your heart doesn't know what to do now. So, you have to like wait and like regulate it. So I had to like kind of pass out for a while and kind of get used to it. It's fine now. I still get that every now and then, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Because I just gained some of it back because, like I said, me and Tom moved in together, and he's like, hey, you have to eat all this fatty food. So, I gained probably like 10 or 20 pounds back. But, I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of like, it was probably stupid, but I was almost 40. I was getting divorced from my first husband, and I was just kind of like, look, I'm sick of being heavy, and I was just kind of like, I just really need to get rid of all this shit like right now. I wanted to like fucking purge everything. So I just went on a kind of like, I just went on a really, really low calorie, high exercise, low calorie diet for like 5 months and lost a lot of weight. And at which point, like I said, I started going out again, and everybody started noticing because they're like, who's this girl? I don't think people remembered me from like back in the old days because I was
They
like
didn't
kind
recognize you.
Well, I was like super heavy and I was like really shy, so I knew some people from back in the day, but it wasn't like the same, you know.
The people who didn't really know who you were before had no idea who you were.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
So to them, it kind of seemed like when me and you started hanging out together, it seemed
They
like
knew who she was.
I came out of nowhere, but
Yeah.
I'd been hanging out there for like years and years, but nobody noticed me because I was chubby.
Yeah, I said, and I'd be like, they were like, "Who's that?" You said, "You don't remember her?" And she's like, "No, you don't know who that is, do you?" You know, and I would just kind of laugh. I didn't really say anything. She said, "She used to come here all the time. You just don't recognize her." She was married at the time.
Yeah.
And fucking, and then I would describe who it was. I said, "Remember the big old tall girl, big old tall dude, the fucking, and the girl, little short stocky
Yeah, the big
girl,
tall redheaded dude.
yeah, you know."
he's
And
screaming.
fucking, they were like, "That's her." And like, "Yeah, that's her." And they were like,
Because
wow.
I looked totally different.
Yeah,
Thank you, Tila.
yeah. Thank you.
Here's
Tia.
to good health to Tom, Jenny, and all my friends
Yeah.
in the chat.
Thank you.
Seriously, yeah.
But yeah, she's kind of down on herself. You know what I mean? She's getting back into shape. She's probably lost about 10 pounds in the past couple months maybe. When
Yeah,
start about 10
probably.
pounds. But the thing is that you don't need to lose weight. You need to recomposition. You really only need to lose. I'm gonna give the guys in the audience a mental image. If you lost about 10 pounds of fat and gained 10 pounds of muscle, you would look about like Sophie D. If you guys know who Sophie D is, you can Google that. That's about how her build is with the implants and shit. So,
I do have a
She
similar.
has a fine- she
I
has-
have a similar build to her.
yeah, she's has a good build when she's in form. She's just a little bit, but hey, it's been 10 years. You're pushing 50. It's not really normal for a woman to be able to support proportions like that at 50, not without external support. You have to have
Like I
hormonal
said,
support.
in a lot of ways, it's harder because,
Women gain fat and lose muscle mass after
and if you're
menopause.
short,
If you're short, you're very sensitive.
like
to it.
I am,
Yep.
you can't really get away. I'm seriously 5'2", 5'3" on a good day.
And unforgiving size.
Really,
proportion.
yeah.
Same with me at my size.
And
5'6".
yeah, so
Very
you know,
unforgiving.
so in a way, and like I said, my whole maternal side of my family, on my mom's and my mom and my aunts and stuff, they're all built like me. They're real short, real short waisted, big thighs, really short calves, really short legs. You can't really gain a lot of weight or you'll look like a big chubbo.
Yeah.
So, there's not a lot of like wiggle room.
Yeah,
there,
and
sadly.
And unfortunately for Jenny, she inherited kind of like some kind of a genetic disposition. There's two different kinds of women. Some women, as they gain weight, they put it on in the ass and the thighs.
Not me.
Jenny gains it right in the midsection.
Yep.
Which that's there, and a doctor mentioned that, and he fucking I was listening to his show, and somebody interrupted him in the middle of his explanation. He goes, "Well, you see, you have to understand when you're dealing with with hormone replacement, there's two kind of women. Some women fucking gain it around the ass and the thighs, but other women gain it around the waist. And with those, you have to." But then they interrupted his ass. I was like, "What the fuck, man? What was he gonna say?" Because he was an expert in that shit.
I kind of gain it. I don't know. I feel like I gain it in my thighs more than my ass. My thighs and my midsection.
Yeah.
Not so much the ass though. I wish all of the weight would go to my ass, but it doesn't.
Here's the thing.
It goes like to the outside or
Right.
the inside of my thighs and my stomach.
Here's the thing. I got Tila in here. She's gonna represent the fucking African booty queens of the world. Fucking real booty has a very solid muscular support system underneath it. You have to gain weight in muscle, not fat, to get good booty. Okay. The only way to do that was you can do leg extensions and leg curls, and you can do squats. There's a couple of other little, but the thing is that the way your blood chemistry is right now, that would be highly effective. 3 sets of 15, not even that much weight, less than 100 pounds, would probably in a period of a few months give you fucking good results. But you have to listen to me. It's not aerobics. Aerobics don't do that. Resistance training does that. Weight training does that. And it doesn't have to be that much weight. Not with your blood chemistry. The body will respond. I'm a physical trainer, not only of soldiers, In the field, I'm also a physical trainer of horses. I can do that too. I know how that shit works. Just, they got people that are
Oscar says, how do you lose face weight?
Okay, well, it depends on how old you are. Depends on how old you are, what your body chemistry is.
If anybody knows, let me know.
Well, it's a couple different things. You can chew gum like crazy. That's one thing.
I did that. I did that for a long time.
Another one thing that you can do is this. And do this, and that'll tighten that up.
You know what's better?
Another thing is you can weight your head.
Do fish lips.
There's a bunch of different things that you can do. Now, if you want to use fucking anabolics, if you start going on anabolic cycles and start fucking getting down to the 15% body fat, a lot of that'll come from your face, come out of your face. And if you look at fucking guys that are fucking with anabolics, they'll fall into two categories. A meathead, which is just a fucking muscle. They just look like a fucking meathead. That's one thing. And sometimes I have that meathead look. Or they just fucking death head, just a skull. They get so lean, they just look like a goddamn skull. And you never...
I wish I looked like a skull.
The thing is that it's reversible either way. It's not permanent. It depends on what your blood chemistry's been doing the past couple months. Because you can lose or gain weight rapidly, and sometimes it's water weight. It's a lot of that meathead look. You'll see these dudes that look like something out of fucking Gears of War, or these damn video games. A lot of that is kind of water weight from fucking around with fucking anabolics like D-ball, like Danabol will do it. Primobolan can do it. It's kind of reversible, but a lot of those guys you're talking about that are fucking huge are on that shit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, their entire lives. They're just fucking themselves up with lots of anabolics at once. It's kind of like anorexia. It's a little bit like drug addiction for some of these guys. So I was saying you have to have the right kind of mindset and be the right kind of person. You got to be very disciplined. Pro athletes, pro soldiers, special forces guys, Delta Force, they're fucking with this. Mercenaries, some of the best mercenaries in the world are on all this shit. A normal man can't live the lifestyles that they live beyond the age of fucking 35. They have external support. They have fucking shit tons of fucking, just like a pro athlete, they have a lot of medical assistance. They know exactly what they're doing too. I mean, Navy SEALs, they were doing weird things with their blood because of those early rebreathers. Because that shit puts all kinds of toxins in your blood. So they were taking a lot of drugs to help them deal with swimming with rebreathers, which is like a breathing apparatus that converts carbon dioxide back into oxygen. It doesn't make any bubbles. That way they can swim underneath the water without making real low signature, no bubbles. So, and it was just like this burning box of chemicals that they were breathing out of. Real bad for you. It's a lot of shit that fucking elite soldiers were doing. A lot of people don't know about. They were giving them methamphetamine. They give fucking jet pilots, some of those A-grade Top Gun pilots, they're on meth. Keep them from sleeping.
Well, I kind of feel like even back in the old days, because if you watch like movies or military recruiting videos from back in the old days, they did not make a secret about it.
No.
Hey, have some bennies.
Yeah, and also super soldier serum. Shit like they were working on all that shit. It's fucking
all right,
steroids.
Gotta be.
Yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and address. Look like Tila's. I see Tila's name coming up. Let me put my glasses so I can see what she's reading. Tila talking. Oh, she's talking to other people. Karen Robb says, "It's so Tom gets it." I'm not really sure what you're talking about, Karen. Nice, Tom gets it. Oh, here we go. She fucking Tila's laughing at me. Squats and donkey kicks, yeah. Squat challenges. I do them all the time. Tila's like, yeah, I know, Tila. Talk to this girl. You got her with the fake fingernails. She's wearing her fake fingernails. She got a bunch of wigs. You need to fucking educate this white girl on booty, okay? Black girls are the fucking sorceresses of booties. You think we don't know? We know. Booty sorceress. Yeah. Looking for the... Tila says she's looking for the booty emoji. She goes, yeah, keep cocoa butter and shea butter on that booty, but that's stretch mark. Yeah. You know what's funny is that for the weight that she lost, she doesn't have any stretch marks. She's got real good, high quality skin and good. See, I look at a motherfucker like they're a horse or a cow. You know what I mean? This is biology to me. She even really recovered from surgeries. No scar tissue. She's got fucking, which is, for a lot of people with fair skin, they scar easily, and you see the scars. Not her. You could cut her open and fucking, there's no scars afterwards. She's got real good recuperative abilities. And her skin can stretch out and then go right back. No stretch marks. Literally, look. When she's in good shape, she looks just like Sophie D. Google that shit. That's what she looked like fucking 6 years ago. Listen to fucking Tila. She's talking to you right there, Jenny. But I was just saying how good your recuperative abilities are. No stretch marks, no scars.
From what?
You're genetically gifted about that, but you don't really realize it. When
no,
you lose that amount of weight, usually people have fucking stretch marks.
I do have stretch marks.
No.
But
nothing compared to what it... Very mild. Very, very mild.
Yeah.
A normal person would have been... Like, that's not even something... You could still... Like, you look like Sophie D when you're in form. She has similar kind of little stretch marks here and there. That's just kind of normal for women because their weight fluctuates. That's all it is.
And honestly, to be honest,
you don't look like you lost 100. You don't look like you lost 100 pounds.
Well, that's
you look like you lost about 20 pounds or 30 pounds. That's
because I started putting like cocoa butter on the shit like immediately.
Go ahead and read what Tila's telling you.
On the stomach, on the thing, and like I said, I've never been like hugely pregnant. I've never been like I was overweight. I had like really bad stretch marks like on my thighs mostly.
They weren't that bad.
Well, for a time. Yeah, maybe
they went away. You had some for a little while, but then they kind of...
They did. They're actually gone now, but I said, that's because I kept putting cocoa butter on. But for a time, they were bad enough. I was self-conscious enough about them that, do you remember we went to Susan?
Yeah.
And I was going to have tattoos put over them because I really didn't...
Yeah, and
that was after I lost weight because I was like, look, I lost all this weight and this shit is still here and it like looks really bad.
And then 2 years later, all that shit started to fade.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's what I was going back to something I said like probably like 2 hours ago.
You guys are saying
that girls, every single tiny little thing, which maybe other people don't notice, I don't know, but we notice it and it's just kind of like we make a huge deal about it.
Yeah.
So every single imperfection, we're gonna obsess about that shit. That's what we do, and it's just kind of like because someone's gonna notice it somewhere, and someone's gonna point it out to you, and then you're gonna get like fucking, you're gonna get all fucking insecure about it.
Yeah.
So for a long time, I had stretch marks because I was much heavier, and so I was like, maybe I can get tattoos on and cover it up, and I was gonna cover up the tattoos. We went to a tattoo artist that we know. Yeah. Me and you went.
It would have been a mistake, actually.
Well, I don't know about that because I like tattoos. And
the time would be to get it now.
And I honestly would like to get more. I just haven't been able to afford it. Honestly, I want a big fucking back piece. I wish somebody would do that. I want a back piece that's based on... Have I said this before? I want a huge back piece that's based on Mask of the Red Death. Yeah. I have an idea for it. Yeah. I want the whole like the Grim Reaper thing and the like all the colors and the clock and all that. I want that all over my back. But I can't afford it. So I haven't got it done yet. But that's what I want. Also, I want this tattoo expanded into like a whole Egyptian. I want a whole sleeve. But like I said, I can't afford it. So I haven't done it yet. But
And they're saying, well,
Oscar says Jenny does have pretty great skin. No offense, Tom. Yeah, that's one of the that I say. I actually do have nice skin.
Yeah, I don't because of the lighting on the show. I always kind of have this fucking meathead look on my face. A lot of it's the lighting and fucking sometimes it's the shit that I'm on at the time. But my body fat percentage right now is probably about 18%, probably about 18%. But when I get down to the 15%. You'll see some changes there, and maybe depending on how things go, there's a possibility I can be in a sub 15%, but that might take 6 to 8 months. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, when you start dipping into sub 15% fucking fat, there's no way that can be done after 50 with a normal biology. You have to have external support, and you need the hormonal support to get that done. You'll never be able to burn that fat. Go ahead and read some of the comments.
But no, what I was going to say was that one thing, like I said, I have a lot of things I don't like about myself. But one of the things that I do like about myself, I did inherit some really nice skin. Even when I was a teenager, I never had acne. I always had beautiful, clear... I was, like, fat, but I had beautiful, clear skin. So I didn't have, I didn't have acne. I didn't have all that kind of problem. I always had beautiful skin. So that was one thing that I inherited from my mom. So thanks, Mom. So... See, she said you also had great skin, which you do. Victor says, I heard models use hemorrhoid cream to shrink pores.
That's old school shit.
I had heard that also. Yeah. I don't know if they do that anymore, but yeah,
that
they
just smells so bad. I don't think they do that anymore.
Does it smell bad nowadays, though?
Yeah, I think it usually has kind of a fucking minty smell to that bullshit.
Well...
That was an old trick from
That's old, like, Preparation H kind of shit. But that's kind of like... I kind of feel like people still have this perception nowadays. Like, something like... what's that shit that they used to, like, take your hair off? Nair. Yeah. Back in the old days, I never used Nair because it smelled like rotten eggs. Yeah. But I got it a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, it doesn't smell like anything anymore. Because nobody's going to buy it if it smells like fucking rotten eggs. So, you know. Robert says, I'm 37 and still get acne. What the fuck? It just don't go away. That's the thing. It's like kind of...
Listen to what fucking T says about booty.
Where is that?
Tina says about booty.
What? Where? What?
Tina, she's had a whole fucking dissertation about booty.
The booty dissertation.
They're up here. Okay.
Just about squats? Well, everybody knows about squats. Yeah, squats. Okay. I do squats.
She said anybody can get a nice booty with squats.
Yeah, I do squats. Okay. I do squats too. I do squats, bike with high resistance.
Yeah. That's good. The bike with the high resistance is good because you get a mixture of stuff.
Yeah.
I got a whole, basically professional fucking gym in the room next door, and man, during the pandemic, people would fucking kill to get in there. You know, it's all gold gym equipment and stuff, and women, because of their culture, I think they like aerobics. Aerobics is not very effective. I mean, bodybuilders fucking looked into aerobics. They try to see what they could gain and what the results of aerobics are. You can gain endurance. You can get rid of some fat. The problem is that if you look at very attractive women, what is making them attractive is not the loss of fat. What is making them attractive is their fucking body composition. They have a lot of muscle on them. And if you go on Instagram, there's a lot of different kinds of girls that are getting involved in shit. They do not look like the bodybuilders of the 70s or 80s. Those girls fucking were basically failed experiments, really. They looked fucking terrible, some of them. They're too goddamn lean. It's a mixture of fat and muscle to get that fucking voluptuous look. Some of them are using body filler. You know, Tila will tell you about that. You know, a lot of those fucking girls that are in the fucking rap scene, they're using body filler. But that's okay. That's the look that they want. But it also involves resistance training. They're fucking weights. And weights is so much easier. I hate aerobics. They used to make us run 10, 15 miles a fucking day in the Army. It gets to a certain point where you just don't gain anything from it. And I like to... What changes the body's shape is basically weight resistance because it's just so concentrated. You've put out so much work in such a short period of time. The body is so damaged it now has to fucking lay down there and repair. And that repair causes the new shape to form. And it grows. But you got to have the body chemistry for it. After 35, the results aren't there. There's not enough time left in your lifespan to get any results. Because your endocrine system is, with each year, declining. So, yeah, it's going to take 10 years at this rate, but the problem is 10 years from now, you'll be 45, and then the rate has even fallen off even more. You must have external hormonal support, which Jenny has that, and everybody who's pushing 40 needs to be on hormonal support if you want to live a long time or if you want to look a certain way. Don't believe in that Richard Simmons shit. Richard Simmons never got fucking built, okay? He wasn't on anything. You gotta get on some shit.
Well, I don't know if that was necessarily the audience that he was. He was kind of more targeting just like regular ass people.
Yeah, but there was no results.
But like I said, he was kind of like just more encouraging people that didn't like to exercise.
He got fat.
That he was just kind of like, well, do something that's better than nothing, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Which it is.
You're programmed to die.
Well, duh.
And
everybody is.
After a certain amount of time, the hormones just aren't there. So you're going into death mode. Everything's shutting down. The metabolism is starting to collapse because you're in the past now. You're beyond fucking... As far as nature is concerned, you're in the past now. Yeah, there you go. He's death.
Coming for you.
Right.
He's coming for you.
So you have to artificially... You have to artificially induce a young metabolism. It's just done through exogenous fucking testosterone and hormones and anabolics, and that'll fucking bring it right. So the last half of your life, you look fucking... Look at Lauren Lopez. Google Lauren Lopez, bodybuilder. The girl's like 52. She's like a fucking 10 out of 10. All right? But she's been on that shit for about 10 years. She looks great.
I just, like I said, I kind of have like a funnier, I don't know. I have like a dark comedy look on it. I'm just like, yeah, everyone's going to die.
No, but you might as well die. You might as well die in good health. You'll live longer.
Yeah, I'm all into that, but you know,
and you'll have a better quality of life. They
That's
all.
true.
Lauren Lopez, bodybuilder. Let's see.
Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Every time.
And people would fuck with Richard Simmons about him being fat because he wasn't listening.
Well, he wasn't fat back in the day. He was just like, he wasn't ripped or anything. He was just like regular. But like I said, I think that's what helped him to appeal to, because like I said, his whole appeal was to regular people that didn't normally like work out. He was kind of like appealing to people that didn't normally do that type of shit. Mm-hmm. That was his audience. So he knew how to react to it.
There's Lauren. She's about 52. All right, that's not natural. If you think a 52-year-old woman could look like that naturally, you're fucking tripping. Okay? Here from Florida, that's Anavar. Anavar and probably testosterone. There's another picture of her. And when you see videos of her, she's on YouTube, or just walking around, you would think that was a 30-year-old woman.
Listen to your Uncle Tom. He's telling you some good shit.
Tila says the best Richard Simmons impersonation was done by Eddie Murphy and then the Professor.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think I saw that movie.
That's
now that I'm thinking about it.
It wasn't one of his best movies, but it was kind of funny. That was during Eddie's fucking... I don't want to say decline. It was just that he was.
Well, I'm gonna dress up like everything kind of.
Yeah,
mode.
He was going mainstream.
I'm gonna play all the parts in the movie.
Yeah, he was kind of going.
I'm gonna be a big fat white woman.
Yeah, he was going mainstream and kind of G-rated or PG-rated.
Have any of y'all seen the Haunted Mansion movie? Because it's like I kind of want to watch it.
Yeah, I have never seen it.
But I kind of don't, because like I said. You guys know, you guys saw the Dark Disney show. I love the Haunted Mansion. I love the whole, like, mystique about the Haunted Mansion. I have books about the Haunted Mansion. I'm not really sure how I feel about a movie made about the Haunted Mansion, especially one with Eddie Murphy. I love Eddie Murphy, don't get me wrong, but he has a certain thing about him that I don't associate with the Haunted Mansion. You know what I'm saying? I'm, not hating. But it's just kind of like, so I don't know if I want to watch it or not.
Con goes, man, that was Santa Muerte. Yeah, Santa Muerte.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all that drug dealer shit going on.
Like I said.
We got the skulls, too.
Death is coming for you, bitch.
Yeah.
Death is coming for you.
Bee's Nest sent that to us. And by the way, Con, I showed him your gorgitas. I got the same goddamn gorgitas over here near my house. I was getting hungry, man. I was thinking about going down there and getting some.
Well, it's closed now.
It's too close.
Now you got to make stuff.
No, it's closed. I got tacos.
Can we order Domino's?
It's too late.
It's not. It's only 9:22. They're still open.
They close at 10. Man, you're trying to get me fat. Every time I go to Domino's, I'll get a whole fucking pizza. That's got to be 1,700 calories. And I'll eat that whole motherfucker too.
Well,
and not gain any weight.
Wednesday.
What's that?
After the show, we ordered Domino's. Well, you went down and got it. They didn't bring it. And I ate, it wasn't a large pizza. I ate a whole medium pizza.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the whole entire next day, I didn't eat hardly anything. I ate one sandwich like the next day, and that's it. So I don't feel too bad about eating a whole.
Look,
and also I rode 10 miles on my bike, so.
I'm gonna see if I have any corn tortillas left. If not, I had to make some on Maseca. It takes too long. Because I got
what
carnitas.
have you got, though?
I got carnitas. I also have fucking fish sticks, frozen fish sticks, to make a good fish taco. But I don't have. I like to eat fish taco. I know what I have. I have 2 frozen hamburger patties and 2 hamburger buns.
Okay.
I can do that.
Well, how fast will that be?
Not long.
Okay.
Easy.
Tila says, funny movie, Jenny. Check it out when you get a chance.
Okay, yeah. We could probably see that on I should have saw that movie back in the day.
Well, I have a thing about like the Haunted Mansion because Disney World, I'm really into like the Disney World Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
And I like the whole mythology about it. And the fact that they made a movie about it and then it was like a comedy and I was just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of
Was it as good as Vampire in Brooklyn? I liked Vampire in Brooklyn.
And honestly, a lot of people shit on a Vampire in Brooklyn, but that was actually a good movie.
Yeah.
That was actually a good movie.
It had a lot of shout-outs to fucking Blackula and Scream Blackula Scream. They kind of went along that way.
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay.
There's rumors, Tila, I don't know if you heard this, but there's rumors that Eddie's going to do another fucking Axel Foley movie. Another Beverly Hills Cop.
I mean, it would kind of be dumb not to because everybody's doing like the 80s fucking...
It's about time.
Yeah.
And I loved 1 and 2. 3 was mediocre. It wasn't that good. It just had a weird, cheap feel to it. The edit was wrong. It needed to be edited down into something. You could tell they were just kind of pulling that one out of their ass. It didn't have a good script. But I still watched it, though. You know, it was okay. But it needs... You can't let Axel Foley's story end that way. On that note from 3. They need to come in there with a 4. And don't call it Axel Foley 4 or anything like that. You got to call it something totally new, but everybody knows what it is. What the fuck has Axel Foley been doing? He couldn't be a cop anymore. It's been too long.
I mean, you really have to... I kind of feel like you'd really need to like feel the weight of what had been going on this whole entire time.
What happened? Something bad must have happened to him. He's got to be coming out of retirement for something. You'd have to have a fucking good story.
That's a pretty common trope, but you could do that.
Yeah.
You could work with it.
Be the same way, Rambo coming out of retirement. For some reason, fucking Axel's got to be going on an investigation, and he's not a cop. See,
maybe he could be like a private detective.
He has to be a fish out of water. No, he's just him pretending to be a private detective or something like that. It's just him.
Lars Ulrich says, "Is that a dark reference? Can I just ask you?" The Golden Child was his best by far. I loved it when I was a kid. Honestly,
I got it. I like the movie.
Yeah. I saw
Mumsy. Mumsy Numspa.
I want the knife. Yeah. Honestly, I loved the shit out of that movie.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Okay.
They played it on cable all the time. I probably saw it like at least 50 times.
Yeah.
We saw it again recently. I don't like it as much as I did back in the 80s, but it's still really good.
I loved it back then.
What a weird premise.
I loved it back then. I see it now, and I realize that it was a very low-budget, independent film that delivered. It gave you fucking Eddie Murphy in a fantasy, almost Indiana Jones type setting.
Well, that's what they were trying to.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it did work. It was not as high budget, of course, as Indy, but it was fucking fun to watch. I have it on DVD. I don't have it on Blu-ray. And I think a Blu-ray release, I don't know if it's out there, but a Blu-ray version would be even better. I liked it. And the special effects probably don't really hold up, especially on Blu-ray.
I mean, they're good for the day, though.
They're good for the day.
They're good for the time.
I'd like to see what the Blu-ray treatment would be like on that, because it would probably show a lot of weaknesses in that. But you know what? That's not what that movie's about. That movie's about story. Story, and it's a good-hearted movie. Good-hearted adventure. In a way, it's almost kind of like a tamed-down version of Eddie Murphy doing Big Trouble in Little China. Kind of felt like that.
Yeah, to me, it's more like Big Trouble in Little China than it is Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And not shitting on Big Trouble in Little China, because I love that movie.
Yeah, that movie's bonkers, though. That movie's bonkers.
So what's wrong with that?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
I'm just saying that, it's kind of a toned-down version of Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, I mean, Big Trouble in Little China,
That's
like I said,
crazy.
if you're going to be, like, fucking bonkers, just, like, lean into the bonkers.
Yeah.
Which that movie did, and more power to it. That's why everybody remembers it now.
Just him mentioning that movie makes me want to see it again.
We have Big Trouble in Little China. I think I bought you that.
You got it in a special...
The steel book.
Special steel book.
I bought you the steel book.
Box got a truck on it. If you guys notice something funny about that is that Crussell, when he's doing Escape from New York, he's basically doing a Clint Eastwood impersonation.
Yes.
When he's doing fucking Big Trouble in Little China, he's doing John Wayne.
Yes.
That's exactly what he's doing. And I didn't notice that at the time, but I see it now, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's a big, silly John Wayne hero that never... He's not really doing any of the work. The Chinese guys are doing everything. Which is kind of it's kind of poking fun at the old white savior trope, where the white guy shows up to solve all the problems that the Chinese have.
Because there was a lot of that shit going on.
Yeah, but he's not solving any problems. He's fucking failing. But you have to read in between the lines and realize, wait a minute, hold on. The Chinese dudes did that, not him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is funny.
I guess you couldn't be as overt with it back then.
Yeah, you had to be slightly under the table, I think, because
I mean now it's like pretty obvious, like watching it. But
yeah. Well, you know, to get people to come see the movie, the box office, you had to have fucking Kurt Russell as the leading man, and he had to be the hero. So but really, the movie just pretends that he's the hero. I think his sidekick gets most
pretty
of the
much,
victories. And then the Chinese dudes do most of the fighting. He shoots a fucking Tech-9 in the air, and a fucking brick hits him in the head and knocks him out, and then they all fight each other, and he wakes up, it's over. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't really do much with the magic. I gotta see that shit again.
Yeah, like I said,
see how correct my memory is
fucking
of that.
Blu-ray. Yeah.
In my memory, he really didn't do that much. He was just there, pretending that he was okay, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Wait a minute, hold on. Did you do anything? I didn't really see you do anything.
I'm just gonna like take all the credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I remember it. It may not be true though. We'll see.
Trey says Escape from New York is one of my all-time favorite movies. Mine too.
T says Kurt Russell in The Thing was fine as hell in that movie. I just watched reactions to that movie, like 5 of them yesterday and the day before, of young people, millennials and shit, watching that movie, couples and girls and shit. And that movie still stands up. This movie still holds up. I have it. I love that movie. And it's funny that young people don't know the movie when they see it. They go like, man, that was a really good movie. Because the story's there. The story's there. It doesn't do any of the bullshit that a lot of Hollywood movies do, especially today. Like today, they would never allow that movie to be filmed because there's no women in it. But that's what part of the thing that makes that movie so fucking weird. It's taking place in the 80s, and there wouldn't be any women up in Antarctica. That would just be ex-military guys on these little fucking outposts, be boring as fuck. It would be a sausage fest. It would be just like an oil rig. Out there in those oil rigs, there's no women out there.
Well, and the fact that there were no women there made it like that was another thing that was like adding to their isolation.
And there was
another thing.
The element of realism. It's just dudes. And they're all a threat to each other. And they don't trust each other. And it kind of works out maybe. And then the end is ambiguous. What happened? The way I took it, Kurt killed Childs. That's what I think happened. You know why I think that? The scene where Kurt is playing the fucking computer chess. He can't win. He loses.
So he pours the drink.
He pours the
in
fucking whiskey in and goes, cheating, bitch.
Yep.
And walks off, fries the computer, 80s style. Fuck that computer. That's some 80s shit there, right?
Even though he just broke the whole entire
he broke
computer.
a whole fucking Chess King computer.
I'm sure other people had to use that, Kurt.
Right. So then Childs comes in after all the fight, and it's cold and it's burning, and fucking Crussell says, well, I don't think we're in much fucking shape to do anything about it, about each other. He says, maybe we'll just wait here.
We're just going to stare at each other.
See what happens. And he goes, yeah. And then fucking Crussell hands him the fucking whiskey, and he drinks the whiskey. And that's it. Well, was that the same as pouring the whiskey down into the fucking computer?
Honestly, I kind of felt that, that was like, I thought that was a reference to that.
Right, like he can't win, so cheating bitch.
I could be wrong, but I thought that was a reference to that.
I kind of think that Childs was the thing. Or...
I kind of feel like that too.
Because I kind of think Childs was the thing.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't the thing, Crussell knew it wouldn't matter. They were both dead anyway. So he might as well toast the dude, even if he is a human. Remember when Childs is fucking guarding the door and Knowles is down on his knees going, I had to cut him loose, fucking, because I found this, and fucking Windows goes, let him in, but what if we're wrong? And Childs goes, well, then we're wrong. That's the same fucking thing that Crussell is thinking at the end. If I'm wrong, well, then I'm wrong. It don't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because we're all dead anyway. So the safe thing to do would be to burn Childs up.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't matter. They were both going to freeze. And he says, you can't allow this thing to freeze. They'll just, when the rescue team comes, they'll just wake it up. So I think he burned Childs.
God damn. That movie is so fucking...
well written, man.
God, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's sad because I kind of feel like when it came out, the world was not ready.
Yeah. It happens all the time, man. They're falling out of the sky. Chariots of the gods.
We weren't ready.
Yeah.
And so it came out, no one was ready, but many years later, at least, we can appreciate it. Because, god damn, that movie was like fucking brilliant. And like I said, people watching it nowadays, kids watching it nowadays being like, oh my god, that's like fucking, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, fucking Tina's talking about Keith David, fucking how awesome he was as a child.
He's good in everything. I love him.
That dude impressed the fuck out of me. I was a kid. My dad took me to see that thing like 3 times down in Mississippi. And fucking Kurt Russell and Keith David, fucking, they just stuck with me the rest of my fucking life. Those 2 characters, Childs and fucking McCready. Because they were just 2 examples of fucking how to survive, And they were the stars of that show, definitely.
Yep.
And remember, I saw like a fucking documentary on African Americans in horror, and they had some actors talking about it,
Horror noir. It's on Shudder.
And one of the actors says, and the thing is that our characters, they always die. And fucking Keith David is not mine. Mine lived right to the very end. And they were, oh yeah, that's right. Well, that movie was a fucking masterpiece. Yeah. And the acting was fucking great in it. The acting, the writing, the storytelling. And when that movie got its ass beat by E.T., John Carpenter was never the same.
And it's
never the same.
That's what I mean. That kind of bums me out because
that sucked everything out of
John Carpenter was an amazing filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like, man, Halloween was like a big success. Then he makes The Thing, which was like his vision, man. He's like, I'm going to make like, The Thing from Another World. That was like his favorite movie when he was growing up. I'm going to remake it, but I'm going to do a different like interpretation. So he does that. And then nobody goes to see it pretty much. I mean... And so that kind of soured him on Hollywood like forever.
Got bad reviews. They're like, "Oh, this shit movie."
Which is
gross,
like stupid, but it's kind of like
masterpiece.
Look, man, The Shining got bad reviews in 1980. Just goes to show
they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Like I said, I'm not shitting on film critics like across the board. you know, a lot of them have gone to film school. They do understand the kind of shit, whatever. It's like, you know, I do kind of like respect their opinion to a degree, but they don't have a real good track record.
Actually, you know, I think
they don't have a real good track record of like saying, like, because you could like fucking, there's a whole thing where you could go back in time and be like, this movie that nowadays, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, you could say is like a brilliant masterpiece. And critics at the time just like fucking savaged it.
I think I remember Siskel and Ebert. The fat one was Ebert, right? Or is that Siskel?
No, the fat one was Ebert.
Ebert, okay.
Yeah. Roger Ebert.
I remember Roger Ebert, and if I remember correctly, he was talking shit about this movie. This movie's disgusting. And I remember Siskel going like, what?
Oh, wait, that might have been opposite.
Was it the other way around? I think the skinny guy was going, what are you talking about? That was a fucking great movie.
I have to look back. I can't remember.
One of them was looking at the other one like he was fucking crazy. Like, no, that was a masterpiece. The story was there. The realism, it felt like they were really out there. They were out there in the snow.
And the thing about it is that I kind of feel like nowadays it's better. Like I said, I'm not romanticizing the past, because back in the past, in case you guys don't remember, critics did not like horror movies. So if it was a horror movie, they were just going to shit on it no matter what happened in it, no matter how much artistic shit it had to it. So I kind of feel like, but I do kind of feel like as much as shit on like Roger Ebert, he did actually seem to, most of the time, he did actually seem to recognize, even if something was a horror movie, he would recognize something great in it, which, you know, like I said, that's cool. Because for a long time, being a horror fan, particularly in the 70s and 80s, honestly, a horror movie would come out and everybody just like automatically you'd shit on it if you were a critic.
Yeah, Hugo's talking about the prequel. He said he's requesting a review on it. We'll review the prequel. I love the prequel.
I actually really, really liked it. We saw it in the theater once or twice. And I honestly really liked it. I liked it. I overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was a worthy successor. I did as well.
It did have,
I did as well.
One problem though. Originally it was designed for a John Carpenter homage practical effects. And evidently the practical effects looked fucking great.
That's what I heard.
But the studio said, no, we want it to be more like
CGI.
We want CGI. It's they CGI'd over the fucking practical effects. Which evidently fucked up the tone.
You see me sighing.
Yeah. And evidently that really fucked up the tone of that movie. Because people that evidently had seen the practical effects and how that was going to look, they said, oh man, that looks just like the Carpenter, you know what I mean? Like an upgraded version of an homage to the Carpenter with all the practical effects. And I really would hope that they would re-release a version with the practical effects. At least some of the practical effects showing. What I really liked about it is that they, in the end, they went down into the damn saucer and showed the fucking saucer from the inside. Because as a kid, I always wanted to know what it looked like in there. So they showed that. They showed that. And the weird-ass display, 3D dimensional displays. Now, I like the fact that they mostly kept it as a sausage fest. They had one woman in there, which that was realistic because they brought her from the mainland to investigate this shit. She wasn't working there. In the 80s, it would have been all men. Probably still would be today. I don't think there's any women out on oil rigs. If there are, there wouldn't be any American or European women. Maybe some chicks from fucking Philippines or Thailand or something. But I don't think there'd be any Western women out there. But no, it was good. Real good.
I actually really liked it. I have it.
I've watched it many times.
Like I said, we saw it twice in the theater, yeah?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, I think we saw it twice in the theater.
But we'll do a review of it. We'll review it.
I kind of feel like we talked about it.
Yeah, we mentioned it, but I
think we talked about it at some point. Tila says, "You're so right, Jenny. Even to this day, horror is so undermined, and there's a legacy of great movie making in horror. I do kind of feel like it's better nowadays, much better. But I remember when I was growing up, if you made a horror movie, and you made something like The Thing or The Shining or something like that, which is, I'm not even saying like great horror movie. That's just like a great movie. Full stop. You make something like that, but because it's a horror movie, it's already kind of like knocked down to like a lower level.
Yeah. T.
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about that in the same like serious situation that because it's a horror movie. So it's like a lesser genre.
Yeah, that generation fortunately is gone now.
Thankfully.
They're gone. They passed on. They didn't like horror or sci-fi. They didn't respect the genre. But T, I don't know if you heard our other review of the show. Go check out Last Night in Soho. You'll fucking love it. It's good.
Man, I loved that movie.
It was a good movie. Yeah,
it was so good.
I actually kind of want to see that again.
That was so good.
Yeah, real good.
But yeah, it's
same thing for you, Con. Go see Last Night in Soho. It's good. It's real good. Great music too. Good story.
I really liked that movie a lot.
Paranormal thriller / horror, and I ain't gonna spoil it. Just there's a lot of. It's not the kind of movie you think it is. It's good.
Well, if you see the trailer,
Yeah.
and I think I mentioned this on the review, because I kind of feel like, oh, the trailer spoiled the whole movie. It doesn't.
No, didn't even scratch the surface.
Nope. There's a whole bunch of other shit going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do kind of feel like it's better nowadays, like I said, because back in the old days, I kind of feel like horror was always kind of like, it's like this B movie genre, where it's kind of like sci-fi used to be back in the old days.
What's up, David June?
We're not taking it seriously. We're not examining, which is dumb because like horror, I kind of feel like that's a genre that you can really explore some kind of like emotions and like a lot of shit that you can't really explore in other genres as easily. So to kind of like put this in another, I don't know, man, like to kind of put it in another kind of like box, I guess, is like really fucked up. I don't know. I don't like it. Khan says, Jenny, in your opinion, what is the best underrated horror movie ever made? Oh, underrated. Oh, man, that's hard. God damn it. There's so many. I've actually done a lot of them on my horror movie review show. If you want to talk about old ones, shit. I don't know how like underrated stuff is.
What was that one with the guy who was fucking bringing back the dead people? Dead and Buried.
Dead and Buried.
Dead and Buried, yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
I kind of feel like that's one that a lot of people like forget about from the early 80s.
Dead and Buried was like
Dead and Buried.
It was kind of like Silent Hill before Silent Hill.
Yeah, that one's good. Recently, underrated. I think I just put up a review of one that I really liked a lot, and that was a Turkish movie called Baskin. Baskin was like, I kind of feel like some people kind of like denigrated it a little. Oh, it's like a Turkish Hellraiser. But holy shit, man, there was so much other stuff going on in that movie. That movie was kind of like one of those ones. It almost had like a David Lynch kind of vibe to it, like in the first half. And then it went like full, kind of Hellraiser, like gore fest in the second half. But man, there was so much like kind of mythological shit going on in that. There was all kind of shit going on in that. I think I've mentioned it before, but Lake Mungo, if you like mockumentaries or found footage, that was a really good one that was underrated, I feel like, that not a lot of people talk about. Back in the old days, I'm trying to think of like some old stuff. The Innocents, has everybody seen that? That was creepy ass ghost story. I don't know, there's so much like shit from the 70s and 80s. I don't know, it's like bad. This is bad. There are so many. And I don't really know. Nowadays, I kind of feel like everybody talks about all the underrated shit, so I don't really know how underrated stuff is anymore.
The one they never mention is Dead and Buried.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's one that's like pretty easy to get. I think it's on Shudder. I think it's on Tubi. I think it's like, you can see that really
Just
easily.
a weird flick.
It is weird. But it's good, though.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of concepts that they went into it. When did that come out? 81?
Yeah, around that time.
I think it was 81. a lot of concepts they go into that movie is kind of like shit that was picked up later on, but I kind of feel like that movie doesn't get a lot of credit for that. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Kind of talking about The Void. I don't know that one.
Ooh.
I haven't seen that one.
That's a good one.
What's that about?
The Void that came out in when? 2016? 2017, something like that. And it is a kind of Lovecraftian. You can tell that it was influenced by The Thing. But yeah, that was a really good one. If you like The Void, also watch The Endless, which I think is also on Shudder, which is not as gory, but it's kind of has that same like Lovecraftian cosmic horror kind of vibe to it. But yeah, The Void was real good. That was a really good movie. Yeah, hospital horror. Khan of Aslan says The Void needs a review. Yeah, that was also really good. And Khan also brought up The Endless. Yeah. I really liked The Endless. There's kind of like, man, I don't know. I was thinking about Lovecraftian horror recently because I just recorded a review. I'm not going to go into it right now. I just recorded a review of this bitch right here, which I know some of you have been waiting for, so I'm going to show you. This is going up Sunday or Monday. Ooh. So everybody that asked me about it, I finally like finished rereading it.
I don't think they can read it.
House of Leaves.
Okay.
I finally finished rereading it, and I just recorded a review of it today. It was like an hour long. I'm not real sure how coherent it was because I don't like script anything. I'm just kind of like, I read the shit and I just start talking about it like I do on here. So I'm just like talking about my feelings about it. This book, I know you've never read this and you'd probably just like think it was annoying, but this book is like one of the most... What am I talking about? Okay, so this is like one of the most complex, like complicated. This is like not even a book. It's like a whole fucking experience, man. So I had a hard time because I told you guys when I did the TBR in January. If you guys watch my book reviews, I don't know if you do or not. But I said in January, I said, look, I read this a long time ago. My friend gave that book to me back in 2002 or some shit like that. And I read it back then. I'm like, oh my God, this is one of the most mind-blowing things I ever read. And I said, I need to reread that one of these days. So when I started doing the book reviews, I said, okay, I'm going to reread it. But it took me so long to do it because it's so long and it's so dense that... So I had to take like 2 weeks to do it, which is a long time for me. So finally today, I recorded a review of it, and I don't even know how good it is because I was just kind of like I said, I don't script anything. I read the shit, I read some shit about it, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to talk, and we'll see how it comes out. It was an hour long, but I don't really know if I came to any kind of conclusions about it, but, you know. I know some of you guys were waiting for that shit because Victor says, Tila says, oh, what? You're doing House of Leaves. Okay, so if you're a patron, I'm going to put it up. It'll be up on Sunday morning. If you're not, it'll be up on Monday morning. I don't know. Like, I don't really feel like... The thing about that book is, like, I don't feel like I'm up to the task. I recorded a review of it, sort of, which is like an hour long. But even still, I don't really know if I got to the bottom of the shit. Yeah, Tila's excited. Victor says, yay, I stopped reading it when I got the ER job. I'm going to start it again soon. It's one of those books that I don't even, like, it's not even a book, man. It's like an experience. That's what I'm saying. That's why it took me so long to get to it, because I'm like, I really need some time. I'd read it before, but that's why I knew. You really need some time to, like, sit with it. It's not a book. It's an art installation. Yeah. So you have to engage with it on its own level because there's lots of, like, shit going on in there that's, like, not... that, like, transcends bookdom, if that makes any sense. So, I don't know. I don't know if what I talked about was, like, even adequate, but I'll put it up later. You'll see. Victor says, is the review safe from spoilers? It is not. So, sorry about that, because Victor hasn't finished it. But, I don't know. I feel like spoilers are maybe not even relevant. I don't know, in this situation. It has a story, but there's so many other narratives going on in it, and there's so many other theories swirling about it that I don't really know if it's, like, relevant to... I don't really know. I don't know. I'm just saying. But maybe, Victor, finish it, and then come back and watch the review. Because I think I did spoil some shit about it. Like, people that died and stuff. So, you might not want to... I'm just saying. Jay says, does Tom read much?
Not much anymore.
He does not.
No, I'll read stuff on the internet when I have to do research and learn how to work things and fucking reprogram stuff. But I kind of lost my gusto for fucking reading novels, especially after I had my motorcycle wreck. Because when I came out of my coma, I had a problem keeping my eyes going across the line of print. I'd read like this, and then all of a sudden I'd go back and read it again, and I'd skip lines and jump around. And during that time of my recovery, I could read sentences, but I might have to read it 3 or 4 times because my eyes would move involuntarily to another line. Fucking frustrating as shit. And that took about a year for that shit to stop doing that. And then during that time, I was fucking worried about so many other things as I got out of the habit of fucking reading books. Because I used to read them when I was in the service, too, because you're doing so much hurry up and waiting, you'd be fucking reading shit, you know? Because you couldn't, you know, it was before tablets, you couldn't bring a movie with you on a fucking phone back in those days. You had to have a book. And those bitches get soggy, too. Fucking, you get rained on.
Soggy
and fucking
books.
shit. Yeah, they get rained on sometimes. But, yeah, just haven't done it in a long time. And I don't really seem to have the patience that I used to have. Khan's asking me to do a review on the Dune book. I'd love to go back and read that book, I guess, but I'll read something, I'll get halfway through it, and then something will distract me, and I'll fucking put the book down and never start it back up. That's another thing. Jenny's giving me books, and I'll get halfway through that bitch and get fucking sidetracked.
You need discipline,
I need discipline when it comes to that kind of stuff again. Maybe I should just try to get back into it. The thing is if I was going to read Dune, there's a good chance I'd have to read Dune Messiah and all the other books. I'm kind of a completist if I go off into that.
We'll see.
And that's a huge world. That makes fucking... That's even bigger than Tolkien to get off into Dune. There's just all kinds of shit in there.
That's kind of similar to what happens with this situation. There are a lot of, like, supplementary materials that you have to read.
Yeah.
You don't have to read it. You can still enjoy it, but there's a lot of supplementary materials that you have to read.
Frank Herbert wrote Frank Herbert. He wrote 3 or 4 of them, but then it was so popular that there's like an expanse of like extremely authentic fan fiction. You know what I mean? Like, I think people have the rights to write that. That's how good they are. It's not really fan fiction. So there are other people writing that on that, and this is over the decades. So I think there's like at least 10 of those books out there.
Well, it's just kind of like when Lovecraft was still alive,
Yeah.
he had like a bunch of dudes that he knew that were writers that would write in his universe.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, okay. You know, and like I said, if you don't want to like dip into that, you don't have to. But if you want to like get all fucking into it, you totally can.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the movie did so well, I'm wondering where the video games are. Because there was always video games for Dune. And they're kind of like Command and Conquer or Red Alert. It's like Sim City with fucking combat. Mine and Spice building shit. I got one of the best ones. Dune Emperor. Or Emperor Dune, I think is what it's called. Dune Emperor, I think is the name of it. And I got a fucking PC reserved just for that game. It's badass. Got cutscenes and everything. And it was from the late 90s, and it still holds up today. It's better than any of those Command and Conquer games.
Tila says, I haven't seen Dune yet. I know it's on HBO Max, but peeps are telling me to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, see that shit in Dolby.
Yeah, I would recommend seeing it on the big screen because it is a visual
got great sound.
Orgasm.
Yeah.
It's like, it's beautiful on the big. I'm sure it's good on like the small screen too, but
I'd go into Dolby Theater.
We saw it in Dolby, and it's like, it's way better.
Get right in the middle of that fucking Dolby screen, right behind the wheelchair fucking seats, right behind the handicap seats.
That's
right,
where we always sit.
Yeah, and it's real good storytelling. I don't know if you've seen the original movie, the Dino De Laurentiis one, which I love that one too. This one is, what you doing, Pope? It's a worthy successor to that. It's a lot bigger scope, a lot bigger budget. A lot more detail. It's a little bit more like the book, I would say, in certain ways, from what I remember of the book.
It does seem like a lot more book faithful, but some stuff is left out.
Yeah.
Or there's some stuff is minimized.
That story,
more than left out, minimized.
That story is so complicated, and the way it's written, the way he wrote is kind of vague. It leaves a lot to the imagination. But he's talking about details that some people maybe wouldn't be all that interested in. What Frank was he was basically a scientist. I think he was an ecologist, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember what it was, but he knew how to make realistic ecosystems and stories. He wasn't really pulling that shit out of his ass. He was talking about humans and human nature, and what Dune was really about. It was as an example of a futuristic mankind that still had retained its humanity. It had defeated an AI attempt to overthrow humans. Basically what it is, they had defeated fucking Skynet. And computers were totally illegal. It was not in their religion to have our AI. So humans had to develop mental powers and mental abilities and disciplines to compensate for the lack of computers and AI, because they were a threat. It's a world very different than today. It progressed, but it didn't progress the way you think it did. Its political system was basically monarchy. It had fucking, what do you call them? Monopolies and religions. And it was a good example of humans who had, what's a good way to put it? Who were not controlled by governments per se. They were controlled more by cultures and religions and traditions and taboos. Which that's another way to do it. That's the way the Middle Ages were. There just wasn't government control. It was just cultural control. And they were all different. And there weren't any, and what was unique about it is that it's the only science fiction series I can think of that doesn't have any aliens. In terms of like intergalactic shit. No aliens. They never found any aliens. They're just, everybody is some kind of a human, and humans that had evolved into things that were kind of not all that human. They found animals and plants, alien animals and plants, but no alien civilizations, as far as I can remember. And I think the only thing in the lore is that in Dune lore, they said that fucking they found some ancient ruins on a planet sometime in the past, and they were so old they didn't know if they were human ruins of a forgotten world that humans once inhabited, or if it was extraterrestrial. And it was still, the archaeologists and scientists hadn't decided. It was still up in the air. So it was weird. A program about interstellar fucking space and no aliens. Very unique, daring decision.
Tila said, I saw clips of the old one. Never saw the full movie of Dune or read the book yet, so I'm going with fresh eyes. It probably helps if you read the book, but you don't... I don't think you have to.
No, you could just go see it.
It's pretty straightforward. It helps if you read the book, obviously, but I think it's pretty straightforward even if you haven't read it. Because I read it, but when I was a teenager, so like a long time ago.
Most people going to see this movie have seen the De Laurentiis movie.
The David Lynch one that he took his name off of.
Yeah. There's a couple different edits of that. There was an edit made out of the TV release, which had a bunch of extra stuff, and then the movie release, and I think they call it the Sand Rider or Worm Rider fucking edit, which is just done by a fan, but it's fucking really good. Then there's a TV release that's about 45 minutes longer, that's kind of ponderous, but it does have good shit in it. That movie was a disaster. Dune is not movieable in one movie. That was the problem. They tried to get it all into one movie and somehow compete with Star Wars. If they were going to compete with Star Wars, they should have planned for a trilogy. And it would easily be
generally, depending on the novel, and honestly, usually like sci-fi in particular, horror maybe like lesser, you're going to try to put a whole novel into one movie.
Yeah.
You're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, and the Dune novel is like on par with the Old Testament. The way it's written, it's like you're reading something from another planet way in the future, 10,000 years in the future. Well, they say it's the year 10,191, but the problem is that the calendar that they're on is about another 10,000 years ahead of us. So it's 20,000 years in the future.
Yeah, essentially.
So
it needs room to breathe. You can't cram that into one movie.
Right.
But like I said, now I think it's good that like somebody's doing it now because finally people have figured out, look, we can't take one novel, especially one that sprawling, and put it into one 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
That's not going to work out.
And it's like at the pace the movie's going, there must be 3 movies. It's because the story.
Well, they're gonna do a second one for sure.
Yeah.
That's already been greenlighted, but we'll see.
You could finish it in one more movie.
You could.
But I would think that it'd probably be more like 3.
Because I kind of feel like the first half, this movie is 2.5 hours long, and they did about the first half of the book.
Yeah.
About.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in the Sieges.
But there's some stuff they left out.
Yeah.
There is some stuff there.
Yeah, and what was weird about it is that as far as it got, and they still haven't showed Fade Routha, which I think
I saw Dom Noble. He kind of like did a breakdown of this, and he's like, "Where was Fade?"
Yeah, Fade should have been in there because in the original movie, I would recommend seeing the original movie. You'd like it.
It doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense.
Kind of does.
It sort of does, but it's cool looking. Anyway.
Real cool looking, and it's kind of. It's aged.
If you haven't read the book, it will make absolutely no sense.
It's batshit crazy.
It will make absolutely no sense to you if you haven't read the book.
But that movie can give a little bit more context to what you're seeing in this one.
But yeah, in a way, like if you don't want to read the book because it is a big commitment, I get that. But it's like you can watch that movie. It will make no sense to you, but like when you see like the new movie,
it makes a lot more sense.
It will make a lot more sense. Yeah. If you don't want to like read the book. But like I said, I read the book, but a long time ago. I was like a teenager.
The movie version of the David Lynch one does not have the prologue or the epilogue that the TV version had. You can see that on YouTube, and it's animated and it's just narrated. There's a lot of narration in a lot of the shit. You're
but
like,
see,
what the fuck?
That's one of the things that I liked about this new version.
Yeah.
Is that the 80s version, it had like this narration, which I normally don't like, because that usually means, that means we didn't do our job, like when we were doing the movie, and it's like nobody knows what's going on. So the old one had that, and I still didn't know what was going on, even though I had read the book.
I understood it.
I mean, I got it, but it wasn't super clear. It was kind of like all over the place.
Well,
this new movie did not have that, and I still could follow it, no problem.
Yeah, there are some people that have even mentioned it, though, when we talked about it in our early fucking kind of review of it, with non-spoiler reviews. Some subscribers of ours couldn't understand why certain things had happened, and it's because they didn't talk about the Butlerian Jihad. And that was when they overthrew the intelligent machines and the men who controlled machines and all the computers.
Yeah, that was the one, and that was another thing that Dom Noble got into. He's like, they didn't really talk about the Mentats. They just kind of like referred to them, but they didn't like say what they were, or why they existed, But in a way, like I don't know. I already knew that because I'm pretty familiar with Dune lore. So it didn't bother me that was left out. But if you don't know anything about Dune lore, that might be like some kind of like, what? Who's that dude?
Yeah. See, one of the things that's weird about this science fiction is that they have all this technology, space travel and everything, but they don't have guns. And they don't even have any. So you're like, well, what the fuck? They're fighting with swords and stuff. And weird dart guns. And it's because they had these shields. And they couldn't have computers as part of it. They had shields that you couldn't... The harder you hit it, the more it resisted. So the best way to get through the shield was with a sharp knife, but it had to be moving slowly. The slower it was like going, the more it would go through the shield.
Because it wouldn't, like, register.
Right. Now, they had things that were like laser guns or ray guns, but you couldn't shoot a shielded person. If you shot a person that had a shield, the shield would be conducted down the damn laser and blow up you and your gun and the dude that you shot. So it would just be a massive explosion. So it was dangerous to shoot anybody that had a shield with any kind of laser. So you'll see lasers, but they don't use them against people. They only use them against ships and shit. Or lasers and fucking particle beams and stuff. Because all that shit was real risky to use. So it's in the book you would know. But when you're watching this on TV, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why didn't they shoot them? They can't, But it hasn't been explained. So the technology is not really explained. And then they got helicopters that have dragonfly wings that flap. Yeah, which I don't know how you do that without a computer, but they figured it out. They could also bend time and space and.
But like I said, I kind of feel like at this point in time, most people that would go see the Dune movie
know all that shit.
Know all the Dune lore. So I kind of feel like they don't really need to waste a lot of time saying, hey, in the future, this, that, and the other.
Right.
I kind of feel like they're just kind of like leaving it to everyone's... Like, look, if you don't know, then go find out. There's the internet. It's the 21st century.
Yeah.
You can find out what happened in the book. We don't really need to show it.
Yeah.
Which I get that. Like, I respect that. He's respecting his audience's intelligence. So a lot of stuff he didn't really need to like spell out. And like I said, I like that.
And if you don't know what's going on, there's some creepy shit. You know what I mean? They talk about the Sardaukar, who are the imperial troops, the emperor's private mercenaries. And they show them fucking having this big religious ceremony, and they're out there going, oh, and they're fucking
doing that throat singing shit.
Yeah, and they're fucking sacrificing dudes who are laying upside down, and the blood's going into the ground. You're going, what the fuck is going on here? And there's no real explanation of what... In the book, these dudes are on a planet called Salacious Secundus that is a fucking maximum security prison. And, like, most of them die on it. And those who live are kind of trained up and they're forced to fight each other to the death. And the survivors end up being Sardaukar, which are these mercenaries that are allowed to not only leave the planet and serve the Emperor as terrorists and terror troops, they also get paid. So they have a fucking shit ton of fucking money. So that's the only way off that planet or to have anything is to fucking just become a total fucking badasses. And they just show them falling out of the sky. You know, what the hell? Why are you falling out of the sky? They had anti-gravity stuff. They were like paratroopers. They'd come down with knives and try to stab you or just shit like that. It wouldn't make sense to a young kid that doesn't know the lore. They're like, well, why don't they have guns? Or so. The technology didn't allow it. You know.
Although, like I said, I kind of feel like in the context of the movie, you could just kind of roll with it.
Yeah. They're knife fighting in armor and stuff.
Maybe that's just me, like, coming at it because I read the book a long time ago and I've seen the other adaptation of it, so I kind of know, like, where we're coming from. Kanavatslon asks, Jenny, got another question. Which horror movie made the most impact on cinema and changed the perception of horror? Ooh. There have been so many. I kind of feel like, back in the old days, you kind of had shit like Nosferatu or Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which were kind of like coming at it more like subjective kind of point of view. We're gonna like show you something that is filmic, but also subjective. It's not realistic. We're showing you something that is based on someone's individual perception of something. You know what I mean? So expressionism, essentially. So you had that. You also had, shit that happened in the 60s with Psycho, with Peeping Tom, where we're going more into not necessarily sympathizing with the villain, but maybe introducing more ambiguity into a film, where I kind of feel like prior to that, and this is, not across the board, but prior to that, I kind of feel like there was a very like black and white, this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. With the advent of something like Peeping Tom or Psycho, you got something a lot more ambiguous, where this is a serial killer, but also they have sympathetic aspects to them. They are still a human being, and an audience can still relate to them, even though they are still a killer, which, like, to me, is a lot better because it's a lot more realistic and it's a lot more complicated. So I kind of feel like that was kind of a big thing in horror, like introducing that aspect to movie making, I guess. Other than that, I don't know, like, it depends on what subgenre you're talking about. Are you talking about slasher movies? In which case, Bay of Blood, Black Christmas, that's slasher movies. I don't know. Psychological horror, like I said, you talking about Psycho again. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of different things that kind of like came about, and I don't know if I'm like sober enough to expound upon it. But
are you getting hungry?
Kind of.
Let's go ahead and shut it down now.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. Where
I don't know. I'm protecting you from stumbling over yourself and forgetting where you are.
Oh, well, gee, thank you.
Yeah, see how it is? You said you were hungry.
Kind of Aslan, Oscar Perez says The Exorcist. Yeah, that was kind of like, I think The Exorcist was maybe the first example of horror movie as blockbuster. Because we kind of touched upon this earlier, but horror as a genre, and also sci-fi to a lesser extent, has always been seen as kind of like a lesser genre. That's always kind of like, oh, well, that's the B movies. That's the shit the kids are going to see. And for a long time, like in the 50s and stuff, that was kind of like the audience that it was targeted toward. We're just going to make these dumb, big bug movies. Roger Corman was doing that shit. We're going to make like these movies with, giant ducks and shit like that with girls in bikinis and whatnot. Because that's who's going to see it. So I kind of feel like until the 1970s, until The Exorcist came out, nobody really took horror as a genre seriously. Except, well, the Europeans did. But in the U.S., that really didn't happen. Because you had like Nicholas Roeg, he was making like Don't Look Now, which was a very adult movie and also kind of a horror movie. But, I don't know, I just kind of feel like that wasn't... I kind of feel like horror and sci-fi were teenager genres until the 1970s. And then you had The Exorcist, and it was a massive, massive hit. And it also got nominated for a bunch of Oscars and stuff like that. So it's, oh my God. So actually adults are going to see this shit, and you can approach adult themes with, in a horror context. Which I kind of feel like hadn't really been done up to that point, at least in that way. So until the 1970s, I kind of feel like horror was seen as a kid's genre, which is kind of a shame. But, so, like I said, I guess The Exorcist was kind of like a big game-changing thing. Because it was a thing where that was a huge hit. Everybody came to see it. It got nominated. It was actually a film, as you say. It was a film. Because it had a lot of stuff going on other than being a horror movie. So it kind of transcended its genre.
Okay, Khan said that his wife saw a dude and really didn't enjoy it because she didn't know any of the backstory and thought it was pretty complicated and couldn't grasp the idea of like sword fighting and knife fighting in the future where you have spaceships and ray guns and shit. And I kind of thought that would happen. She said she didn't really like it. She couldn't follow it. I kind of figured that would happen, not giving the audience any kind of backstory, kind of like the original did. Just the way people think, you know what I mean? You're mixing futurism with fucking retroism. It's retro-futuristic. You're like, why isn't there guns? Guns were totally obsolete. So were ray guns. Kinda. They're too dangerous to use. So everything had to be done kind of the old-fashioned way. Technology had canceled out a lot of high-tech weapons. And nuclear weapons were banned. They use them later on in the book, though. Guided missiles, they had them a little bit, and bombs. But they didn't work too well against dudes that were shielded. Only way to go through a shield is they had a dart gun that would kind of anti-gravity that would slip forward, and when it hit a shield, it had a screw tip on it, and it would slowly try to rotate and dig its way through a shield, and once it got through, it would dig through the human. And they also had poison gases. They used that. A lot of poison. Because poison could go through the shield with the oxygen. So it was good thinking. It's good thinking. It's just that you have to, I think that they should have talked about that, the Butlerian Jihad, and the fucking Mentats. Because Mentats were human computers. Raised up out of a dead body. Brought back to life. That's a weird concept.
Well, like I said, it's all in what you bring to it. I was not bothered by the lack of not over-explaining stuff because, like I said, I read Dune as a teenager. I've seen the David Lynch, Dino De Laurentiis one, so I kind of, like, knew all the lore. So to me, it didn't really seem like they were leaving stuff out. I was just kind of like, look, I already know all that stuff, so it's, like, good that they're not wasting time on it. Now, if somebody's coming in completely not knowing anything about Dune.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say.
Those are some added layers to add interest. You'd be like, oh man, these dudes are the living dead, basically? Some of these dudes are the living dead?
Yeah, like, I'm kind of like a big advocate of, one, show don't tell. Yeah. Which, like I said, they teach you that in any good screenwriting class. If you go see a movie and there's some shit going on and there's like, you don't really get it and it's just kind of like not really explained, that's good because you leave some mystery for the people to be like, woo, what was going on with that? And then like you're kind of engaging with it, interactively. So
the Lynch version did that though sometimes. It's just there was so much of it. Like the scene where Mentat Piter Varese was fucking making the juice of Sefu and drinking it and fucking doing his little mental ritual about the lips acquire stains and the mind acquires speed by my will alone. My foot set my.
I like all that.
All that weird shit. Like, what the fuck is that dude doing?
But
he's getting juiced up to fucking think, man. Thinking fast as a motherfucker, doing these huge calculations in his head.
But see, nowadays,
that was weird too. That he was evil.
Nowadays, because a movie is not just a movie. Let's be honest. It's the movie, but it's also all the other online stuff that's going on around it. So there's all of this other like supplemental material. If you're interested enough in that movie to look into the shit, I kind of feel like the movie should just kind of like concentrate on the visual shit and the story and everything. Don't do too much backstory. Leave some mystery.
Yeah.
Don't over-explain anything. Don't exposit. If people are interested enough to look into the shit, then put it on a website. They'll look it up later. You don't really need to like fuck up the movie with all that shit.
I don't know, T. I'm thinking maybe you ought to watch the David Lynch fucking movie first.
Or read the book.
It takes time.
Although read the book is it's very long.
I watched that David Lynch movie because it adds other layers.
The David Lynch movie, I love David Lynch. The book is good. The movie, even though I've read the book, the movie to me makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah.
But, and like I said, and this is coming from someone that I love David Lynch. Look, I love Lost Highway, makes complete sense to me. Mulholland Drive makes complete sense to me. Dune makes no sense to me at all. And
it makes sense to me.
I mean, it does, but it's like, I've read the book. I know what's going on, kind of, but it's like, it's really...
The problem with the Lynch Dune is that the edit has a very uneven speed.
I think that's what it is.
It takes its time in the beginning, and it sets a lot of things. Then it starts to speed up because they're running out of fucking time.
Yeah.
And then it starts...
They're trying to cram it into one movie.
They're trying to cram it all in, and they're using narration to get the shit done.
Which was the first mistake.
I think they had enough to make a 6-hour fucking movie. Enough footage. And evidently somebody's pieced a lot of that together because the TV version was a lot longer. And there have been people that have pieced it together into a badass edits that tell most of the story. But some of the shots look kind of cheesy of the fucking spaceships flying.
I mean, it was 84, you know.
Spaceships flying over. You can tell some of the shots weren't complete. Spaceships flying over and dropping bombs on the Atreides fucking city. And it looks like something out of a Godzilla movie with the helicopters flying. You know what I mean? That's how bad it looked in certain shots. But they're just trying to piece the whole story together out of what was left on the cutting room floor. They didn't really
have the
budget or the time.
They didn't have the budget. They didn't have the time. They didn't have the resources to bring something that epic to the screen.
But the Lynch theatrical release has badass costumes. It does a pretty good job of painting the basic world. It tells the story, just that in a very uneven speed. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is kind of strangely paced. I think that's the main problem I have with it, is that it's like the pace of it is very strange. But like I said, they were trying to cram a lot of information into...
It still holds up. Says, did the director's cut of it.
Yeah, we've watched that.
Director's cut. Yeah.
Like I said... And I get that, like, David Lynch, and, you guys know, I'm a big David Lynch fan. Him having to do Dune is a weird, that's still a weird combo to me.
You can go on YouTube and watch the prologue to the Dune television release for it. I think it's about 5 minutes.
It is admittedly a complicated universe.
Yeah, and that'll give you a little bit of background about the Butlerian Jihad. This is happening after that shit. And Kyle was saying the Butlerian Jihad would have been a badass movie. I think that's why they're trying to revive this.
Well, they're doing a prequel.
They're doing the prequels should be the Butlerian Jihad, and that would be badass.
I heard they were doing
it was humans versus AI and big tech that had enslaved humanity, and they'd gotten weak and lazy because robots and AI served them. And then it was so protective, like an overprotective mother, they couldn't do anything. And then when they wanted freedom, the robots basically just started to just like literally kind of like fight against them, getting rid of the robots. You couldn't get rid of the robots. And the robots didn't want you to do anything. And then there were evil men behind it to make sure that was happening so they could make all the power and money. And then there were some AI computers that were helping the humans, that their intelligence was superior to a human, and they were trying to hijack, I guess you could say, the big tech oligarchs who made them. So it was like kind of like a softer version of fucking Skynet, kind of. They weren't trying to wipe everybody out. They were just infantilizing humanity. So once they finally got rid of them, they said,
"Guess we're a bunch of dummies."
Yeah, and after they overthrew that, they outlawed. They made it into all their religions. Kind of had a commandment: is thou shalt not make thou shalt not make a computer in the form of the mind of man. That was like
yeah. So everything had to be like death. Human. Like everything had to be analog.
Yeah, and there was nothing but fucking. There was a bunch of religions and philosophies and schools took over, and corporations.
Captain Blairdo says Pooksteratu when Pookie's toy Dracula bites her.
Yeah.
Look, you guys, I don't know, like you guys saw this earlier. I showed this. Ilse sent her all of these Halloween toys. She has this crinkly Dracula. For whatever reason, she loves these feathers. This Dracula is like laying on the floor and Pookie just like licks the feathers. She's like,
yeah.
She's like so weird. Somebody says, Victor says, Mulholland Drive is on my watch list. Bitch. Mulholland Drive is one of my favorite movies ever. But you have to watch it. How many times did I watch it before I figured it out? Probably, well, second or third time I figured it out. It's not really that hard to figure out in hindsight. But Mulholland Drive is so beautifully constructed and just such, it's not all that complicated to figure out. It's not like super like, you know, I don't know. It's not like a super puzzle or anything. Once you know like one thing about it, everything kind of like falls into place.
All right, see you ready, T. T's checking out.
Bye, T.
Okay.
But after you kind of like get that key to it, it's like every single thing makes total sense. I'm almost kind of like in awe. I don't know. Like I'm a big fan of David Lynch because it seems like everything that he does is like so instinctive, and yet it still comes out like this big like complex. Like he thought a lot about it, but he doesn't seem to. That makes me really angry because that like I don't have that. Like I have to like consciously think of this stuff, but he doesn't really seem to. Everything just seems like fucking. It just seems to come to him, you know, just like that, and it's just like I don't know, like that makes me angry. But like Mulholland Drive. The first time you watch it, it won't make any sense. But the more times you watch it, the more sense it will make. I promise. Seriously, watch it. Lost Highway is good too. And Lost Highway, I kind of feel like, I just did a review of it not too long ago. Lost Highway, I kind of feel like was the test run from Mulholland Drive. Mulholland Drive, I kind of feel like is his masterpiece. Inland Empire is good too, but I kind of feel like Inland Empire was his thing where it's like, oh, look, I'm going to take like the David Lynch thing and I'm just going to like fucking go ham with it. So that one is like 3 hours long and there's all kind of crazy shit going on in that. And I love that movie, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it's a little too much. Lost Highway is like not enough. Inland Empire is too much. Mulholland Drive is just right. You know what I mean? It's just right. It's just weird enough to be cool to like people, but it's still like accessible enough that people that aren't super into like this weird like fucking, you know, thing can still get into it. So I kind of feel like that was kind of like the fucking, you know what I mean? It just hit the right spot. I love Lost Highway. I love Inland Empire, but it's just kind of like, he just got it right in the middle. It's just really, really good. That's one of my favorite movies, actually, ever. Maybe my favorite.
We're going to go if you want to eat.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to have to start cooking.
Tila says, I think I'll give the new one a look. I'll read a little bit about it before I go in to get some main character detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly, like I said, it's hard for me to say because I read the book, I saw the original movie, so I was kind of like familiar with the lore. I don't know somebody just coming into it with not knowing anything. It might be a little complicated to follow, but maybe not. Maybe not.
I would recommend watching the director's cut of fucking the David Lynch version, because that's the basic outline of the story is there, and there are some background. That would be it's a good movie. This one's a different take on it. The look is a little different. It's the same basic story, it's just not all of the story. Doesn't finish it. You'll know kind of what happens from this movie, how it'll end. But just the way that they do it is different. I don't know. It depends on how you want to do it. You're talking about a movie based upon a fucking series of books that a lore that's fucking many times the size of Lord of the Rings. It's a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's like a massive...
And this movie kind of does it in its own style because a lot of times in those books, nothing is really described how they look, how things look. So you can kind of... I like the way David Lynch did the way it looked, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I will admit that movie is inscrutable in a lot of ways, but the visuals of it look fantastic.
Yeah, the outfits and the uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
And just the dialogue. Most of the dialogue of the Lynch film is
and
from
gotta
the book.
say, Denis Villeneuve, he picked up a lot of stuff from the David Lynch one.
Yeah,
rightfully so, because he's like, I like the look of that, so he was gonna use it. It doesn't look anything like the David Lynch one, but he did use a couple of things from that, which Oscar is laughing at me. Haha, Jenny doesn't want to call the first Dune movie the David Lynch one. Well, it is the David Lynch one, but David Lynch, one, he didn't write it, and two, after he did it, they took it away from him and made it not like he wanted it.
They cut a lot of it out.
And he was mad.
Yeah.
So I know he directed it, but I mean, most cuts of it still say Alan Smithy on it because he didn't want his name on it.
I would look at the David Lynch director's cut.
Yeah, that one's better.
Oh, yeah, better.
It's still inscrutable, but it's better.
It's not inscrutable. You can understand it. It's kind of like the edit is in some ways kind of like watching one of those old movies about the Old Testament. And it's kind of supposed to be. Because Dune is, in a way, supposed to be like you're hearing about people from the ancient past in your religion, kind of.
Yeah.
The way the books are kind of written, sometimes it feels like they're talking about something that is happening in the past, but it's 20,000 years in the future. But it doesn't. It depends. I guess it has a very antique religious feel to it. That's a good way to put it. They're all religious in the book, but they're not the religions we know. They're future religions.
Well, and like I said, it's something that sci-fi writers do a lot, is that they kind of take the present day or the past and they kind of extrapolate that into the future and say well, what would it be like if 20,000 years from now everything had blah blah blah. And so that's kind of what you're getting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, it's hard for me to say. I kind of feel like this movie did a good job of building the world so that you didn't necessarily have to have read the book or necessarily have to have seen the original movie, but it would help.
Yeah.
Because maybe there was some shit, I don't know. Maybe, because I did see the old movie and I did read the book, so I don't really know how somebody that was a complete noob coming at it, I don't know if it would just be completely not understandable.
Hey, Captain Blairdo, did you see Star Trek Continues? They did the episode with the second half of fucking Kirk and Spock, fucking in the mirror universe. That was a fucking badass fucking episode. I forgot what it was called. The Fairest of Them All. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. Real good mirror episode. What happened to fucking Kirk when he went back?
Victor makes the point that Star Wars is a religious movie and it takes place in the past. Yeah, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. So Dune is not that weird in that regard.
No.
And I kind of feel like this new movie really does do a lot visually to kind of just fill you in on the world without you necessarily having to know a lot about it.
Yeah, you said that's good, man. You should see the rest of them, man. All of STC is great. I love that series. I actually want that bitch on Blu-ray. You can download it in Blu-ray quality and print out the fucking covers and everything.
Yeah, they're not allowed to.
They're not allowed to sell them. They have to give them away for free.
Because it's
non-profit.
Because it's
And fucking, I hope once fucking CBS fucking gets rid of that fucking stupid Star Trek they're making now. I would like fucking Star Trek Continues team to go and start doing the shit before or after the Wrath of Khan period. They've got the fucking sets and the fucking uniforms. That in between those movies. That would be badass.
Well, yeah, they could do a whole kind of fucking shit, man.
Yeah.
That's such an expansive universe.
Yeah.
You could do so much with that.
Yeah, what happened before Wrath of Khan? That'd be a good one.
Trey says, I actually love Titanic. People make fun of me for it, but I love it. I remember really liking it. I've only seen it like once or twice. I remember really liking it, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, Khan says that Hollywood needs to hire us. Yeah, actually, we don't need Hollywood. We should just do all...
I'll come up with my own shit.
Come up with our own shit. Fucking crowdsource that shit. And fucking hire guys from, like, fucking... Well, shit, man. We got listeners that are fucking making Gina Carano's movie and shit. Fucking guy went to a fucking military academy with Brian Hackett. And he's done a lot of Russell movies. Fucking Bone Tomahawk. Fucking what's that? VFW. Just need to fall in with some of those dudes, and we'll make some fucking our own fucking sci-fi.
Well, yeah, and to be honest, if I'm going to do something, I would rather create my whole own universe. I don't really want to do, and like, no shame to people that want to do fanfic and stuff, but it's like I don't really want to play in somebody else's universe. I would rather come up with my own shit.
I would do something like that video game. What's that shit called? Fucking Warhammer, or what's the fucking one with the religious dudes going through space and shit with the fucking crazy ass armor? What's the name of that video game? Not Gears of War, Warcraft, or what was it? I'll have to fucking look at it again. There's just these fucking roided out big motherfuckers just yelling all the time in armor with the spaceships with gigantic fucking warhammers and fucking and laser guns and shit. Something like that, where they're on a religious crusade through space to do some shit that is just crazy by today's standards, like bring the Lord's word to other aliens and shit to make them convert. And it's just crazy shit, you know? Or the mirror universe type shit from Star Trek, but that's licensed, see? You can't do it. But you can make your own fucking
But like I said,
world.
make your own shit
Make
up.
your own shit.
I don't like the idea of playing in someone else's universe. I would rather like make up my own stuff. I'm not really super into sci-fi. I like horror, but
see, Khan's calling it Space Conquistadors. Yeah, that's right. You have Aztecs and conquistadors in space. They're descendants. It's the descendants of the Mexican Empire in another fucking universe. That's what it is. They had, in an alternate universe, the Spanish Empire goes to Mesoamerica. They fucking cause an industrial revolution hundreds of years early, and the Mexican Empire becomes a high-tech, spacefaring fucking civilization by the 1800s. And they're in the 1800s going through fucking space. How about that?
But okay.
Yeah. It's like half Spain and half fucking Aztec.
Sorry, I stopped.
She's passing out.
No, I'm not passing out. I was just like reading other people's comments.
Yeah.
Oscar says, I saw Mulholland Drive High the first time. Ooh, I would not recommend that. And the Winky's Diner scene screwed me up. Honestly, the Winky's Diner scene in Mulholland Drive is one of the most unsettling things I've ever seen. And I can't really... I can put my finger on why, but I can't exactly put my finger on why. You know what I'm talking about? I wrote like a whole blog post about this, and I said that there's a lot of shit that is not even in horror movies that creeps me out more than horror movies. And the Winky's Diner scene in Mulholland Drive is one of those. And I'm not really sure what it is, and I think that's kind of why that makes it scary. So I was very happy to see that there was like this list that was done. I can't remember who did it, but it was like some kind of thing. It was like, oh, the 50 scariest scenes, whatever. And they put Winky's Diner at number 1, and I was like, thank you. I'm fucking vindicated. Because for a long time I thought I was the only person that was like really, really fucking freaked out by that shit, even though I couldn't explain why. Because like, if you explain it to somebody, it's not scary. But if you watch it, it's really, really scary. And nobody knows why it's scary. It just is. It just is. And that's why I love David Lynch, because he can do that shit. Yeah, I'm going to make this shit scary. Nobody can explain why it's scary. It's just scary.
Oscar's saying, listen to Susie and the Banshees. As per your conversation, they were great. Yeah. I don't know what years you listened to. She was around for a long time. Also, check out The Creatures. She was in that band too.
Yeah, that was like her offshoot band. Susie and the Banshees are fucking great, man. What my favorite album of theirs probably Juju.
Yeah.
That's a great one. What's that? What's the one that has Cities and Dust on it? What's the fucking name of that shit? Came out in like fucking early 80s, but that was a good one too.
All the Mexican guys in there fucking loving my space Aztec idea. Yeah, see what it is when the Spaniards get down there in the 1500s, they're digging around in those temples and they find out that all that Aztec shit was alien. That there were some aliens there before, that's what all that, and then it causes this industrial revolution to happen, see? And then they all kind of merge together. And then they reinvade Europe and take that over and it becomes part of the Aztec Empire, see? There's like a counter invasion. And then there's this huge boom. So it's kind of like Europe and the Aztecs, and then they take over all of South America and all of fucking Europe, and it all combines into one thing, and it's a spacefaring fucking people flying around trying to find Quetzalcoatl, fucking sacrificing people, blood sacrifice, making aliens pay the blood debt, all that kind of shit. It would be fucking wild, man. All the spaceships would look like fucking Quetzalcoatl, fucking feathered serpents and shit. It'd be fucking great, man. It'd be great. It'd be mixed. The motif would be like it'd be futuristic, but it would be fucking Aztec and Spanish all fucking happening. The armor and shit with feathers on it, and fucking you could have the jaguar fucking soldiers and eagle soldiers and all that. You'd have all those cultures combined into one thing, and it would be like Star Trek, but it would be like the mirror universe. They'd all be like badasses, yeah, and they'd be religious. It'd be weird, and you'd have like Catholicism merged into it too, into the religion. I think it would work out. Probably sell a bunch, man. Shit would probably sell in Central and South America, fucking like sell like hotcakes. Cause and it had the shit in Spanish. In Spanish, yeah. Spanish and Nahuatl. They have both those words in there. Make that shit authentic. All right, that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Trey reminded me that the album was called Tinderbox. Thank you. I do have that on cassette. I'd forgotten the name of it, but thank you very much for reminding me. October Wraith says, I want to go to that diner. I don't know if it's still there or not. I'm pretty sure it's on Sunset Boulevard, or it was back in the day. Get a cheeseburger and fries. Man, that fucking, I don't know what it is about that scene, man. It's like the daytime, just two guys talking at a table. That whole scene where he goes like, yeah, I had this nightmare and it was about you, and like you were standing like right over there, and then like there's a whole thing where like he's later standing over there. Oh, I don't know, that freaks me out. It's like, and honestly, like the whole end of the scene where they go out in the back and like the fucking creepy like fucking monster bomb like pops out from behind the fucking dumpster. That's scary, but it's like everything leading up to that like creeps me out more than that does. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. That whole scene is like fucking creepy to me. And I can't explain what it is, but that's why it's scary, because it's like, I can't explain why it's scary. It just is. I don't know, like weirds me out. Yeah, so where are we now? October 8th says, fucking dude, sounds cool. I have a ship. Yeah. Okay.
Constantine's gonna put his poncho on. He's ready.
We're gonna put, we're all putting ponchos on?
Yeah, they're all getting ready to go to space. Somebody says, yeah, man, we took over the world. Let's go ahead and go to space. That's how that shit happened. And you go to space in the 1800s. All right? But the technology...
In like a steampunk kind of...
No. The 1800s will still be futuristic because the Industrial Revolution happens in the 1500s. And it's been jump-started by alien technology.
All right.
That the Mexicans had in those damn temples, because it turns out those temples were extraterrestrially inspired, see? So that's what jumped the technology ahead 100 years right there. So the new Aztec 1800s.
So we're gonna fly like Chichen Itza or whatever.
Yeah, the Aztec version
space.
of 1800 AD is more like 2200. It's like that.
All right,
that's what level it's at. They're 200 years ahead of us right now, because the shit happened back in the 1500s.
I'm on board.
And they had some alien technology. See, that's what started it off. Yeah, the Spaniards and the fucking Aztec priests figured it out together, how that shit worked, see. I had to make up some kind of a MacGuffin, to explain it. It might have been a book. It might have been like a book. Some kind of a book about technology that the aliens left behind. Yeah.
All right.
And actually, the book might be Greek. It could be that fucking Quetzalcoatl, or what was his name? Fucking Kukulkan. Kukulkan, this ancient Greek
dude. The same guy that makes your drinks.
The same dude that makes my drinks. He had it. And that's how he taught him. They said the Kukulkan taught him how to make all that stuff. He had an alien book. Yeah, that the aliens gave him when he was over in Greece. See? And he got marooned down there in Mexico. And he, well, not in Mexico, be somewhere like around
Can we
Yucatan.
have, like, the pages of the book be made out of some kind of, like, weird alien metal or something?
It's not even a real book. It's a hologram of a book.
Sure, that's what I'm thinking.
That's what it is. It's like a chip, like a Sith holocron. You fucking do like that, like that.
Well, I don't know. I kind of feel like I like the way it still, like, looks like a book, though.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's got pages, but it's just holograms of a page.
Yeah, okay.
It's like that, yeah. And it's got science.
Because I like that old school kind of shit.
Science and shit.
Thank you, Victor. Jenny, I sent y'all a pic of my Space Aztec tattoo on Facebook Messenger. I'm way ahead of y'all.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Khan says the 7 voyages of Kukulkan.
Correct.
That's going to be our movie, you guys. Yeah. That's going to be our movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and in the Aztec future, they do have fucking goth chicks, and they all have the fucking Dia de los Muertos fucking outfits and shit. They walk around like that.
That's a lot of work though to be walking around.
That's what the club girls wear.
I know, but like I said, that took me like 4 hours to do that.
They're dancing
shit.
in fucking anti-gravity fucking shit. They got fucking human blood flying.
All right.
Yeah.
We're dancing in the human blood rain.
Yeah, yeah.
The human blood rain.
Yeah.
I'm down with it.
See, look. Hernandez says Matt Tom is a genius. Who needs a screenplay when you got Tom? You're fucking right. I'm just inspiring this shit for free. For free. I just gave that out.
Y'all could just like steal the ideas.
Let's see what they do. How much about that shit comes out as a blockbuster fucking movie 3 years from now? Like, damn, where'd this come from? Bitches stole it from me. And I had to fucking keep this shit recorded. All right, and use this as
well. See, this is good because we're recording it. So if we have to sue some bitch later on,
that's right.
We can prove that you came up with the idea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Khan says we need a GoFundMe. Yeah, we probably should. I mean, I don't know.
Just make a comic book.
I have lots of good ideas. Well, comic book is way cheaper. You don't have to like pay for like special effects. You can just draw the shit. You can just draw the shit.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's the nice thing about being a writer.
Yeah.
Man, you can come up with anything and you can just like write it down. It doesn't cost you anything. Words are free.
We'll crowdsource the comic.
Words are free.
And then write up the comic, and if it's fucking good, we'll fucking make a video game based on it. Yeah. It'll be a space warfare game.
All right.
Yeah.
It'll be called Sexual Tyrannosaur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a cocksucker hat.
Nah, Jenny can't stay on the motif. Okay.
I'm just fucking with you. I know how you do.
Look, man, we gotta get something to eat. Then you want to get something to eat? You gonna work all night?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Yeah. But are you gonna make me some food?
Yeah.
What are you gonna make?
Coming up on 11.
What are you gonna make?
Hamburgers.
No spam.
Hamburgers.
Okay, no spam.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, hamburger sounds good.
Yeah, I got hamburgers.
Little Pookie. What's she doing? What's she doing?
Resting.
She's staring at my dictionary like it's edible. Yeah. Oh. All right. Holy shit. We've been going on this stream.
Yeah.
We've been going 3 hours.
I know.
I don't remember how much we.
2.5 hours on the other one.
Did we?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys.
Yeah. You get into your drink and you forget how much time.
Well, I'm having a good time. It's Friday night. We're not going anyplace.
No, but we're gonna.
We're having a good time. We're talking to everybody. Yeah, I gotta eat. I'm starving.
Yeah.
All right. So, Pookie looks back here like, what are you guys talking about? Can you guys like stop talking to the lights and start talking to me? Oh. All right. We'll come and pay attention to you, Pookie. All right. So we'll be back Sunday. Maybe we'll talk about Antlers because I want to go see Antlers tomorrow. So maybe we'll do a review of that Sunday. You think?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. We'll do that. All right. So we're going to go eat. thanks you guys for hanging out with us on this Friday night. We'll be back on Sunday afternoon, yapping with you about whatever. And so I guess that'll be it, right?
Yep.
You done? All right. Good night, you guys. Good night.